Ah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And we've got a show. So the Aztecs, they are homebound. They're going to be playing the Wyoming Cowboys on the court, defending their conference record of 4-2 against a tricky team. I think it's a lot harder to play against Wyoming on the road classically, but every single conference opponent is going to give you their best shot, as we've seen. That's the reason why they have 2 losses so far in conference. It hasn't been the smoothest of journeys for the Aztecs so far starting their conference schedule, but this is a good conference, the Mountain West. We talked about that, and they're due for another dub. So excited for that. That's coming up at 6 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760, your home of the Aztecs. Pregame getting underway at 5 p.m. with Ben Fletcher and, of course, John Schaefer. And then Teddy Ballgame will have it the rest of the way. We also have ticket giveaways today. We've got Bush. Big show in San Diego. We got a pair of tickets giveaway to go see Bush.
I can't wait.
Glycerine!
I don't want to come back down from this cloud.
Also, we have a lot of news coming out from
2 pairs of Aztecs tickets also.
Oh, we do have 2 pairs of tickets to Aztecs? Awesome.
And hopefully people are driving around in their car, not a rental car this morning. I know a lot of people lost their cars yesterday in San Diego. Very sorry about that. It looked horrifying if you saw some of the images coming out of downtown, the East Village, even SeaWorld underwater yesterday.
Did you see the
crazy day?
The trolley filled with water?
That was the one right down by my place. The Mission Valley trolley station was flooded.
Mission Valley is a flood zone. I mean, it's supposed to flood.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So,
and then they went, but you know what? Great spot for a mall.
Exactly.
You know, we need a Gucci and an Apple store right in this flood.
Ben's condo.
What's it flood like 4 times a year? Come on. We still got 361 days of good.
Right. We'll put it on stilts. And anyways, it was definitely wet yesterday. And in Pacific Beach specifically, there were people who were calling me all day long like, hey, is your house underwater? I'm like, no. Fortunately, I'm far enough from the coast where I don't get flooded. But if I walked 5 blocks down to Mission Boulevard, oh my gosh, like there were areas of the street that you couldn't even cross. You just had to give up on that street and turn around and find a different way to go. So yeah, it's still wild out there. Be safe today getting around. It's going to be interesting to see where all these pieces fit in the NFL. So we have vacancies everywhere you look in terms of head coaches still playing musical chairs. It sort of feels like people are waiting for a domino to fall. Maybe some of these big names like Belichick, like Jim Harbaugh, even a Mike Vrabel. I don't know, but nobody's really settled in anywhere yet. Although it appears, talking about Mike Vrabel, that the Tennessee Titans are getting close to hiring the Bengals offensive coordinator, Brian Callahan. So maybe there's some action there. Falcons have interviewed Belichick twice now. It looks like that's the only team interested. Let's actually stop off there for a second. You heard that right. The Falcons are virtually the only team we've heard on record who are interested in Bill Belichick.
Did you guys happen to read Peter King yesterday on Good Morning Football or Good Morning Quarterback, Monday Morning Quarterback, whatever it was? He was talking about the fact that the Falcons are the only team interested, and they're not all that close to pulling the trigger on Belichick because part of the front office with Atlanta doesn't want Bill Belichick to be the next head coach, but the owner, Arthur Blank, is the one who's kind of steering the ship on this thing. I imagine Belichick will probably land there if that's what Arthur Blank wants, but it's a little odd that Bill Belichick, the greatest head coach in NFL history by most metrics, if not all, is not drawing any interest from anyone else.
Yeah, that is a little strange. Now, is there any chance that he doesn't go anywhere? They're a year off.
Yeah, there is. In fact, Mike McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning head coach, when he was fired by the Green Bay Packers, I want to say that was 2018. I don't think he worked in 2019. I think his first year with the Dallas Cowboys was 2020, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, you are. Remember the press conference where he said, I've been in my basement cooking up brand new offensive schemes, and then he came out and put together the exact same offensive scheme that he ran for 15 years in Green Bay?
It was
He dropped that play with Zeke.
no, that was a Kellen Moore special. That was that Kellen Moore special. Yeah, it was interesting. He told a couple of fibs when he was coming in as the Cowboys' new head coach. In fact, he told Jerry Jones, he was like, "Yeah, I've watched every single minute of film the Dallas Cowboys played from a season ago." This was when he was hired in 2020, and then later admitted publicly, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, I was just lying. Like, what? What are you doing? Everybody was kind of, I guess,
respect, Mike. Respect.
Yeah, everyone was kind of cool. Yeah, that's basically the equivalent of, yeah, listen, we worked really hard on this group project. And then later on, after you get the A, like, I just signed my name.
Yeah. I literally took that from Jennifer's desk.
Oh. Yeah, she handed it in last year, and she got an A last year, and you gave it an A again, you idiot.
You're clearly not reading these.
So, yeah, I mean, it has happened where there's been a gap year. Like, so Belichick, I mean, maybe he could do what, like, kids graduating high school do. Like, I'm going to go backpacking around Europe. You know?
Or Sean Payton.
Well, yeah.
Could you see Belichick going to the booth somewhere, or not even a booth, maybe just a studio and doing pregame shows, or doing the NFL 120, whatever, you know, do Bill Belichick stuff on the side while he's waiting for another job?
Well, so Sean Payton, the difference there was he like retired. So he had to be traded to the Denver Broncos when he got hired by the Denver Broncos. This was a quote unquote amicable parting of ways between Belichick and the New England Patriots. So in no way, shape, or form is he saying, yeah, I'm done with coaching. He's saying, no, I was still interested in coaching. They didn't really want me to coach there anymore. And after talking to them about what it would take to stay there and coach, I was like, yeah, I don't want to coach here anymore either.
Right.
So we just decided to call the whole thing off.
Well, we got word that Belichick had gone for a second interview down in Atlanta. And I think we all went, two? You need a second interview? Except for maybe you, Rich, who went, yeah, I mean, it's probably about the money. Except now I'm looking at this thinking, maybe it was Belichick who went in and said, yeah, I mean, I'll talk to you again, and went down there. And maybe nothing that's offered right now looks sweet enough for Belichick to jump onto. So maybe he takes a year off, lets things shake out a little bit. Then all of a sudden teams go, dang it, we should have paid for Belichick last year. Now we're going to have to pay even more.
So Adam Schefter appeared on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and Adam Schefter is a big-time newsbreaker, and he's a guy who obviously is going to have the story because he's tied in with agents, he's tied in with front offices. Here's his take on this whole situation. Yeah, listen, it is odd. And he's right about the Tom Brady thing. That was odd too. But I also think you got to remember these two, they're going to be choosy. I think that Tom Brady was looking for the perfect environment to insert himself into, and obviously found it in Tampa. It worked out perfectly, going off and winning a Super Bowl.
Still doing that in his dating life.
Yeah, there's no question about it. A lot of insertion. And then you look at Belichick, and that's not gross. It's beautiful.
It's cool.
That's where the world goes.
Yeah, that's right. Come on.
It's everybody's chasing.
That's how you're here. That's how you're here, Fletch.
Yeah, you had a conception day. We're gonna backtrack and we're gonna figure it out on our new Hot Guys 2024 calendar that one of our listeners sent to me. And it was,
oh my gosh, you forgot to talk about that.
So
there's one of those sitting in my truck too for some reason.
Okay, so one of our listeners has sent in, and I don't know who it was because they wrote, "This is for your guys' new conception calendar," because I heard that somebody torn ours down from our old office. And so So somebody sent in a Hot Guys 2024 calendar, and it was signed P. Nass.
Love our listeners.
First initial P, last name Nass.
Listen, I mean, they're right. It is a hot guy calendar.
It really
Yeah.
is.
I mean, it's full of them.
A lot of abs.
Yeah.
A lot of abs.
Speaking of hot
We
guys, Brady
appreciate it.
Quinn this morning on Two Pros and a Cup of Joe, and yes, Brady Quinn is a hot guy, but he brought up the fact that a lot of these teams are looking for the next Bill Belichick, not for Bill Belichick.
Well,
And I thought that was a good point because you look around who's getting hired right now, it's a lot of young dudes. It's a lot of young coaches. Even if Brian Callahan ends up going to Tennessee, that is the next iteration of, well, the young offensive mind with Cincinnati who's coming over to Tennessee to resurrect the program, right? So maybe people aren't looking for the older coach who might only be there for 3-4 years. Maybe they're looking for the next Bill Belichick to be there for 15 years.
I get what he's talking about if he's talking about strictly age. But if he's talking about the way things are done, I completely disagree. I don't think anybody's looking for a Bill Belichick anymore. I don't think anybody's looking for
He was talking about age.
one voice to rule over an organization for the entirety of his coaching tenure with that organization. Nobody wants to be told what to do by one singular voice. Like Arthur Blank may also be in that camp. Maybe he's the one leading the charge, like we're hearing. Maybe he's the one who's really interested in Bill Belichick. But when you sign up for Bill Belichick, all decisions go through Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
In fact, when it started getting a little wonky for Bill with the Patriots was when he was trying to make decisions that Robert Kraft didn't want Bill to make. And it was decisions that he had made with other players throughout the course of his tenure as head coach in New England. When he was trying to trade Brady, though, it struck a chord with Robert that it was kind of like that one line you can't cross. Like Tom Brady's been like a son to me. I love this guy. You cannot trade him to San Francisco. So we'll send Garoppolo instead and we'll get a second rounder. Like that truly was where Kraft drew the line. And it felt like the only time up until that point. So I don't know if too many organizations, A, are looking for a 70-year-old coach, but B, are looking for a coach that completely takes over every single decision that's made inside of your organization.
And if you believe Peter King, that's why the front office of the Falcons does not want Bill Belichick. Arthur Blank does, but you got to be thinking,
they lose all their jobs.
Bingo.
Yeah, right. But I mean, is Atlanta the only team that would allow it? I mean, even if the front office says no.
No, well, here's the thing.
And be able to afford him.
It's an ownership decision. It's an ownership choice. And that comes into play too. Like how much you have to pay this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he could very easily take the year off like we were talking that McCarthy did, or, in retirement, Sean Payton stepped away. He doesn't need to do media. He could do it if he wants to put himself out there like that. I mean, he could do whatever he wants, but the one thing I don't think he's interested in doing necessarily is like stopping coaching before he reaches the summit. He's 15 wins away from being the winningest coach all time. I don't think he's done yet.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, we will see about Bill Belichick. Again, reports are that the Falcons ownership is interested in Bill Belichick. The Falcons front office, not so much. It doesn't appear that the Falcons are close to making any sort of deal with anybody per Peter King. Also in the NFL, head coaching vacancies elsewhere are starting to get filled. Titans close to hiring Brian Callahan, who's been with the Bengals as their offensive coordinator. Reports that Jim Harbaugh, second interview with the Chargers, and he brought his wife this time. Colin Cowherd hinting that this one might actually be close. John Middlecoff, is that his name? Kind of says that it looks like it's been done for a while between Harbaugh and the Chargers, so we will see there. Starting in college hoops here, Aztecs get Wyoming tonight at Viejas Arena. Tip-off at 6, pregame coverage at 5, live from just outside Viejas Arena. Come on up and give me a fist bump. Listen right here on 760. Tickets available at goaztecs.com. 2 pairs available on the show today. Give one of those out in the first hour. What do you boys think?
I like it.
Do you guys
I
see what Joel Embiid did last night?
Yeah.
70 freaking points. I cannot wait to hear Travis's pun about this one, but that passes Wilt Chamberlain as the highest scoring game in Sixers history, and he becomes the 9th player all time in the NBA to score 70 in a game.
That absolutely rocks. You want to hear what else rocks? So, Ben,
Your feet.
I put this on.
I honestly thought we were reading an ad right now.
No.
Fresh cut rice.
You know what? March is a great time for fresh. No, we'll get there. The Korean call
I saw this
of the Tyler Bass missed field goal during the Bills Chiefs game is legendary. Give this a listen. I love it. So I listened to that 10 times. I've sent that link to everyone. I love it so much. Holy God.
But I mean, I don't need to understand it to understand it.
I know exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm pretty sure I know how to say wide left now.
Right.
Which is important in Korea, as we know. Look, here's the thing about coaching hires. If Jim Harbaugh is close with the Chargers, it means that they're going to do something they haven't done in 2 decades, and that is pay one of the top coaches in the league, or excuse me, one of the top candidates in the league to come coach their football
Who was
team.
the last one?
I guess it was Marty Schottenheimer on an extension.
Hey, you would have to think.
But after that, it was Norv Turner, who was an OC. It was then Mike McCoy. It was then Anthony Lynn. It was then Brandon Staley. So it's been 20 years, at least. Probably right on the nose, around 20 years.
And I'm okay being dead ass wrong on this because I believe I've said at one point on this show that the Chargers will never hire Jim Harbaugh because they won't pay him. I still don't really think they will. Like, I know Colin Cowherd came out. He said a few things yesterday that kind of made it seem like he knew something, that Jim Harbaugh was going to the Chargers. I still don't buy it.
Well, he's pretty plugged in. I'm pretty sure Colin got an opportunity to sit in their war room at one point.
He did
during draft day. So he's tight with those guys over there. And not just Telesco. Obviously, when you're welcomed into a building to go observe a team's draft, like you're being welcomed in by the ownership and the ownership's family. And John Spanos is sitting in that room, and I'm sure they buddied up next to each other. So it's possible they exchange cell phone numbers. I mean, look, I'm connecting dots that may not be as close together as maybe I'm perceiving them to be, but it's possible that he has somebody who's legitimately in a chair of decision-making with the Chargers who's feeding him this information.
Brandon Staley was making $4 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to pony up another 16 mil.
They're going to triple that or quadruple that?
Quadruple that, literally. I mean, well, actually, quintuple that.
Yeah.
If you're paying $20 million.
Colin's quote yesterday was, quote, I have a source who really believes the Chargers are going to pay Harbaugh, end quote. John Middlecoff yesterday, quote, people I talk to say Harbaugh to the Chargers has been done for a while, end quote.
Yeah.
It seems like the stars are lining up. Harbaugh brought his wife to the interview yesterday. Is that worth reading into at all? Like, does that mean one way or the other things are going better or worse?
It's possible that they quietly signed a contract then. It's possible that, I mean, look, it's possible. Jim's kind of an odd duck, you know, so I could see Jim sort of being like, in order for this team to pass muster, Mrs. Harbaugh has to give the green light as well. Like he just does. He goes by the beat of his own drum. So I could absolutely see this being more of a family affair.
Huh.
I don't know though. I think that per the sources, especially considering the closeness and the proximity to the Chargers, it's highly possible that Jim Harbaugh will be their next coach. It would be the biggest departure of character that we've seen in the NFL for a while. It makes sense. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is a former player with the Chargers. He coached with the Chargers in his past. Like it's not out of left field, but what is the expenditure? What is the financial shift here? Because this has been a team that, look, I don't want to say the name of the person who I first heard this from, but the nickname for this team when they were here in San Diego that went around the locker room was Bush League Bolts. They did everything kind of in a minor league way. This would be a major league play.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And that's why, I think we're sitting here going, there's no way this happens, right? But does the team stay the same? Does the team look the same? Is it dialed in enough for Harbaugh just to step in and all of a sudden create a winning culture?
You got Justin Herbert.
Yep.
So that is an awesome platform to launch from. And then you have Keenan Allen, you have Mike Williams. I mean, there are free agents around this team, and I'm not specifically sure which contracts are expiring off the top of my head. You have some aging veterans on that defense. You definitely have some leftovers from the old regime, and I mean Tom Telesco, and I mean like the front office that was in place with him. But there's enough to work with in LA for them to go on a run in the AFC West. They just need a coach. They need a culture builder. They need somebody almost like, I don't know, like an Antonio Pierce who can shock things back into life like he did for the Raiders. I think the Chargers need much of the same.
So if the three of us last week were pretty not on board with Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers, just like based on the fact that we didn't think the Chargers would be able to be the ones getting it done, where are you guys at now percentage-wise? Like, is this going to happen? 80% sure.
Oh, I have no idea how sure I am. I'm baffled that they would spend the money. So that part of this is what's really holding me up. Like,
and then there was the conspiracy theory that I laid out last week of maybe Harbaugh's using the Chargers using Harbaugh to elevate both their images. Harbaugh goes back to Michigan. Chargers say, look, we tried really hard.
Yeah, but the more of this that comes out, the worse it would look for the Chargers to not get the deal done.
Yeah,
so
because
now you're going too far.
It's a little bit like they got left at the altar, kind of like how the Colts with Josh McDaniels. You remember they sent the plane and they had the press conference set up, and instead of Josh McDaniels, it was the GM Chris Ballard going, "Yeah, so Josh isn't here. Whoopsie doodle."
Good news is we did order that popcorn machine, and it's right over there. If you guys want to line up, we'll start handing out popcorn.
How about this from our buddy Peter Solis on YouTube? He said it's possible he asked for a second interview just to get a paid vacation to LA. He mentioned that going to the Rose Bowl was a way his dad got the family to LA on someone else's dime.
Oh my God. I just picture
that would be so great.
Oh my God. Like I just picture Jim Harbaugh like tapping his foot, looking at his watch while Dean Spanos is talking in the meeting, just like, God, the line at the Matterhorn is going to be so long. This is ridiculous.
I've already missed rope drop.
Great. The new Star Wars ride.
Nice name drop.
We're not getting on that today. We've already buzzed past our reservation time. Awesome.
God, I'm gonna have to add on the fast pass.
You know what's so weird? Every time Jim comes here, he seems like he's in a rush, and the driver is always dropping him off into Anaheim, like right across the street from Disney.
Wait, what? Why is he wearing Mickey ears?
The mouse is in the house. I mean, hey, what's up, guys?
If you want to put a percentage on it, if last week I was at 20%, right now after this information, I'm at 22%.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like it didn't move the needle that much, but only because it would be so out of character, like you mentioned, Rich.
Yeah, it would be out of character. I'm not saying it can't happen because this happens all the time. Surprising, shocking revelations occur. Seeing Tom Brady in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, for example, is something I would have never expected. But, the world flipped upside down, and all of a sudden coming out of the pandemic, we're rubbing our eyes and we're like, did Tom Brady just win a Tampa Bay Super Bowl? Is that Tommy Brady down there? And, oh, boy. Okay, he's the king of Ybor City.
Is he drinking an avocado tequila margarita?
Yeah. He is hammered drunk
he
on
was
that
hammered
boat.
Drunk.
Yeah, he tossed Gronk that Lombardi trophy. It was a big deal.
I wish it would have gone into the water.
Same.
I mean, that would have been hilarious.
It would also been cool, like if in that harbor they just left it there, and then you would have to take like scuba diving trips down there. Like,
down to look at it.
This is where the Tom Brady, if we just submerge 25 feet, it's right below here.
Or it just floats and they go, wait, is it made of styrofoam? Unbelievable.
All right. Coming up next, we got to get into the drama in Dallas. We'll explain that. But first, I want to explain to you how awesome it is to have a dentist I trust. Not a lot of people do, and I totally get it. I was one of them. I actually ended up having to have a tremendous amount of dental work done, and not trusting your dentist and needing a tooth extraction, needing three implants to be put in. That's not a fun place to be. And that's where I was at. I was told it was going to take 18 months. I was told a year and a half of my life was going to be dedicated to having massive dental work. And that was a terrifying proposition. So I started to get second opinions. I was asking around, and thank goodness I spoke with Kogo News' LaDonna Harvey, who referred me to Dr. Jordan Colby over at Ocean View Dental. So his whole procedure over there, his operation, I should call it, over at Ocean View Dental is top notch. They do everything in house. And so I went in, I got this whole procedural report after getting all of my scans done in office. I didn't have to go to another place. There was no written referrals like, hey, bring it to this office, have this specialist check in with you. You're going to get your imaging done elsewhere. No. Everything happened with Dr. Jordan Colby. And so he gave me this whole thing. He mapped out the entire procedure. 3 months. That's all it was going to take. I was told it was going to take a year and a half, only 3 months. And he knocked it out, and I feel great. And he stuck to it. I mean, actually, I'm pretty sure we got it done in less than 3 months now that I'm thinking about it. But Dr. Jordan Colby is a miracle worker. His motto is no matter your situation, he can help you create a confident, healthy smile. And that's what he did for me. Dr. Jordan Colby has built a world-class, family-oriented dental practice at Ocean View Dental. He's got one location in Fallbrook as well that provides excellent dental care as well. You're going to get the personal and professional attention you and your family deserve. So if you're looking for a new dentist in the new year, do not wait. Do not look around. Go to my dentist, my doctor, Dr. Jordan Colby, and check him out at oceanviewdental.net.
We got some Dallas out in drama, and I'm not talking about the sitcom. I guess it was a sitcom. Anyways, we'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by Lowe's. Starting off in college hoops, Aztecs get Wyoming tonight at Viejas Arena. Tip off at 6. Pregame coverage getting underway at 5. Live from just outside Viejas Arena. John Schaefer and myself will be out there. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Tickets available at goaztecs.com. A pair of tickets available within the next 10 minutes. You hear that, TD? Within the next 10 minutes.
Yeah,
in the NBA,
God will commit
Joel
that to
Embiid
memory.
last night dropping 70. Sixers take down the Spurs 133-123. Embiid passing Wilt Chamberlain for the highest scoring game in Sixers history, becoming the 9th NBA player all time to score 70 in a single game. And in the NFL, Titans look like they're going to be hiring Brian Callahan to be their next head coach. He's been the OC in Cincinnati. Reports are that Bill Belichick had a second interview with the Falcons. Jim Harbaugh had a second interview with the Chargers. During MVP's bonus day at Lowe's, save $250 when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch sliding miter saw and adjustable stand together. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
I own both of those items. I own the 12-inch DeWalt miter saw, sliding miter saw, as
And
well
the
as the
adjustable
stand. Yeah, I have
What
both.
is a miter saw? Is that?
Well, a miter saw is, you know what a chop saw is. Do you?
There's one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that kind of, yeah. But the miter saw also would move back and forth. It's on a slide. So you can do so many things. It's great.
It's for like cutting 2x4s.
Well, or bigger. Yes. I mean, you got 12 inches, man. You can do a lot with 12 inches.
Yeah, some people say it's way too many inches. Some people would say that.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760 within 8 minutes. We're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to go see the Aztecs take on Wyoming tonight, Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. tip there. Tickets available at goaztecs.com, or just keep listening for your chance to win in 7 minutes and 50 seconds or less.
So, funny thing about the Mountain West right now, the basketball league. Everybody's losing on the road. Everybody's winning at home. So the reason tonight's game is so important, Wyoming near the bottom of the Mountain West, you need to hold serve at home pretty much all the way through and steal one on the road. Aztecs have been unable to steal one on the road yet. That makes tonight ultimately so crucial because you have to hold at home because everybody else is.
Yeah. There's no question. This is a very weird start to the basketball season, but we spoke about this a little bit probably at the midpoint of last year's basketball season. College sports are changing, man. Teams are going to be very different than they've ever been constructed before because the Blue Bloods aren't holding all of the talent on their roster waiting for their opportunity to get to the court. A lot of these younger players who are chasing NIL deals, they're going to some of these other schools. So instead of being, I don't know, the second, small forward at Ohio State waiting for your turn because you have a graduating senior in front of you, you're going to go start somewhere else and get paid $500,000 to do it.
I mean, I'll do it.
Yeah. I think it's okay.
I'll move wherever you want me to. Laramie? I love Laramie.
You really did play college football at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
You were like 20 years too early.
20 years too early for sure. Yeah. 2008 is when 2009 was when I was drafted.
So 15 years too early.
So 15 years pretty much to the day. If I would have known, I would have just asked my high school teachers to hold me back for 15 years. I would have started playing sports.
You'd have been so good
at 37.
Seriously, because coming out of college, you were pretty highly recruited. You probably would have gotten $500,000 before you walked in the door somewhere.
Well, no, actually, coming out of high school, I was either a 2 or 3 star recruit. I turned into, don't get me wrong, I had a bunch of scholarship offers, but I turned into,
All-American rich.
There you go. I turned into a player. It's a process, but even then though, you can threaten to leave your school and then they'll just pay you a bunch of money. Like you'd be like, that was a fun season and all, but you know what I really love is not having to worry about if I have enough cash to buy toilet paper. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to Ohio State unless you give me a lot of dough, so that's what these college players are doing. I don't blame them. Anyways, moving on to Dallas. We promised to discuss the drama that's happening with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, their brothers are speaking out on their behalf.
Dak's mom, too.
Dak's mom?
No, CeeDee Lamb's mom. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, I didn't hear Dak's
CeeDee
mom.
Lamb's mom is saying Dak isn't it. She said that on Instagram.
Interesting. Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow,
saw how well that went for
really
Odell
rude.
Beckham Jr. with his dad.
Really rude.
Baker Mayfield.
I don't feel like it's ever a good thing when the brothers or the wives or anyone starts speaking out. Like, everyone just be cool, just let it happen. Your significant other or brother or son or daughter, whoever, they're in the limelight, they're in the spotlight. So let's not try to move that spotlight because things get weird.
Yeah, I agree. At the same token, though, so if you're orchestrating this, if you're Micah Parsons and you want to force Dallas to pay you a whole ton of money, and you don't want to be the person on record who says, yeah, Dak stinks, I want out, it's a lot softer of a landing if it's your brother. It's a lot. And by the way, that's somebody who's in close relationship, familial proximity to you, where you could get away with it. And you could be like, hey, Dak, and of course, this is on the other side of Dallas, breaking off Micah Parsons for a multi-year deal. If they're going to be playing together next season, yeah, Dak, I got to apologize for my brother. He's a hothead. That stunk. I hated that he did it. He was emotional. You get it. Water on the bridge. Right, buddy? You extend the hand, you shake hands, you move on. But if it's coming from you, if you're the guy, you're the poison pill in the locker room, all of a sudden an organization will be like, do we really want this guy?
So do you think that Micah Parsons wants out of Dallas or he wants Dak out? I mean, is that the underlying feeling here?
Nope. He just wants the bag.
Okay.
That's what all of this is, by the way. This is all related to money. Dak Prescott's on an expiring deal. Micah Parsons hasn't signed the big deal yet. CeeDee Lamb, I mean, if his mom is speaking out, I hadn't seen that report.
It was 2 days ago. CBS has it, but she said, Dak isn't it, and get Dak's ass out.
What?
Sorry, Siri. Take it easy.
Was CeeDee Lamb's mom?
Yeah.
I believe that was her. She has a South African accent. Unbelievable.
You have South African Siri?
Yeah, I changed it. I forget how to change it back.
Have you ever switched it to like Alfred from Batman's voice?
No, you can do that?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just like
Siri?
an older British gentleman. It sounds like Alfred.
I was going to say, what was it? What? Stop talking to me, Siri. Every time you say it, she's talking. What was the Waze you can change to different? I had Morgan Freeman for a while.
You're going to want to take a right turn.
That's right. Who else did I have? Oh, Mr. T. Mr. T was a fun one.
Oh, my God.
Turn here, sucker.
Yeah, that's honestly what it was.
So right now, let's see. I'm looking up details on CeeDee Lamb's contract as well. Okay, so yeah, he has yet to sign his extension too. So get this. All the people who are talking right now want an extension.
Wow, yeah.
So Dak's brother, Micah Parsons' brother, CeeDee Lamb's mom, what do all of them have in common? They all want to get paid. This is not shocking the least bit. What's shocking is the same exact ploy is being used by 3 star players on the same team at the same time. That's a little weird.
Yeah. So what's Jerry Jones's reaction when he wakes up and sees all these different reports?
Hey, Steven. So he's talking to his son now. Hey, Steven, did you see?
Yeah, Dad?
Did you see the news about what's happening with Dak and Micah and CD? Yeah, they are all of their family members. They hate Dak or they hate us. Yeah, so I think we're going to need to go to the bank today. And also, if you could help me reset the clock on my VCR. It's been blinking 12:00 for about 2.5 years in my office. It's driving me crazy. Okay, this is Dad. Call me back.
Do you think Jerry Jones could have his son start tweeting out? We want Jerry Jones out.
Steven, this is your dad. Stop it. And also, if you could come over and check why the refrigerator is making that funny noise when we open the freezer drawer, that would be great. It's all voicemails.
His son never picks up.
Hey, Steve. It's your dad, Jerry. Jera.
There's a multitude of voicemails of just accidental butt dials as well.
Yeah. And it's all him talking in the background, like, now these buttons are so damn small. How do
This boy never picks up.
I said, Siri. Anyways,
Then it turns out he was
What-
talking to his
what-
fridge the entire time.
the whole time.
Can I
Not
tell you guys a
used
story about something that happened yesterday?
Yeah.
So Kendall's gone. She's in Orlando. Hope she's having a great time at Rope Drop this morning.
Is she not listening to us?
No, I doubt it.
great.
Yeah,
Now
she
we're
might still
great.
be in the air.
Wow,
actually.
because she
But
could be listening on the free iHeartRadio app.
You're damn right.
Mhm.
I had the
Share
house to
link with a friend.
myself the entire day yesterday, which is foreign territory for me. And so I was actually scrolling back through some of our old social posts, seeing what did well, what didn't. And I was sending you guys, like, for some reason, the Dan Campbell impression that Rich does every single morning. It blew up online last night.
Yeah.
Don't know why. But I was going back and I saw a video of myself.
I know why.
And I was on a beach in Mexico. And I was so fat.
What?
You're a heavy set boy.
that was right before we started.
That was at the peak, man. That was
Yeah.
278 pounds.
I love how you say I was at the peak.
You're right. It was actually
I
the
reached
valley.
the summit.
It was hell. That's what it was. I was 278 pounds. I'm not built for that. No. I'm built much more for the slim 229 that I am as of this morning.
There
and
was
that's
a
all
lot more.
thanks.
There was a lot more you had to tan.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I did it
surface
somehow.
area.
Yeah.
But SDFatLoss.com is how I got down into the 220s from that 278 where I was. SDFatLoss.com, they've broken the weight loss code, gone on those starvation diet plans, do away with the latest fads and their long list of side effects. SDFatLoss.com is healthy weight loss using real foods and proprietary strategies to help your body become you once again. They've tested this over literally tens of thousands of clients, and everyone we talk to seems to have the same results. And it's you lose a lot of weight and you lose it quickly. Within like 3 weeks, you're going to be down 15 pounds or so. SDFatLoss.com. They got the secret for quick weight loss. And most importantly, lasting weight loss is something that you won't get on the fad diets or the prescription medication. If you're done being exhausted with the same old stubborn weight, get on over to SDFatLoss.com. What do you got to lose, TD? Nothing but
those unwanted pounds.
Mhm.
We got to shed a little weight too, and I'm talking about the weight of a pair of tickets.
Oh, Japan!
877-767-4760. That's the number you got to call right now. Caller number 5 at 877 SORG. Starts with an S. 760. You're going to go see the Aztecs take on Wyoming tonight. VA House Arena, 6 p.m. tip. Tickets available at goaztecs.com or call number 5 right now. Coming up next, people are watching some TV. Let's break down the watch party next.
Coming up next, it's a watch party. We'll explain on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. So the Texans-Ravens game was the most watched NFL game ever broadcast on ESPN ever. They averaged over 30 million viewers. 31.6, I think, was what they said was the exact estimated average number of viewers. But they reached as high as 36 million plus. And then on top of that, as part of the article that came out, and of course, this is coming out of the ESPN promotions department, their public relations department, I should say. They were touting the fact that they've had their 5 most watched NFL games ever on their network. And again, remember, they're simulcasting. They're doing the Manning cast. They're doing the normal ESPN, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman. And that's on not only ESPN, but ABC as well.
Which would be fragmenting the audience.
Yeah.
Or do they lump it all together?
They're lumping it all together. Okay. So this is more like, this is really Disney. Like these are the Disney numbers. All the streamers, all the everybody. That I think that's the
which counts. I don't take that away from
in a couple of years. I guarantee you, there's also going to be a Disney simulcast with like kid play-by-play people.
It would be smart.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, the Toy Story thing did not work for me at all.
I think dumbing down the football into cartoons, like that's not what kids are really, because I remember being a kid and being interested in just like normal sports.
Yeah.
I believe it would be cool if like they did some of the Nickelodeon stuff, like they're in the slime zone.
Yeah. Ian Eagle, Nate Burleson do those broadcasts every year. They actually do a pretty fantastic job on it of making it a little easier to understand for everyone.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I like the Nickelodeon one. Okay. I get that one. But as a kid watching the athletes, I mean, they were the video game out there. They were the cartoon out there because they were doing things that looked impossible to do as a human being.
So the NFL, I do think, though, is terrified in some way. That's the reason why this Taylor Swift thing couldn't have happened at a better time, because as you're trying to make this transition into streaming only in certain cases, like, for example, the playoff game between the Chiefs Dolphins was streaming only. And that's a huge risk to take. I mean, to allow a company to take something of yours and broadcast it, and it's only per paid prescriber.
Yeah.
That's a big risk.
And
but
that number was significantly lower than the rest of the numbers we saw. That was at 23 million, right? And then so you see 31.8 average for the ESPN one. Well, the 23 million came from a game that Taylor Swift was at.
Right.
And it was still 23 million.
Yeah. I mean, it still worked though at 23 million. 23 million people is a pretty good number for something you took off of broadcast television, for something you took off of cable that you have to go to a streaming service for. And apparently Netflix is thinking, we want to get in on that too, because they just signed a deal with WWE.
Yeah, Raw is going to be coming to Netflix starting January 2025, and that deal was bananas. It's a $500 million per year deal.
Oh yes,
it's $5 billion over 10 years. It's
$5 billion.
I think it's the biggest contract of its kind ever signed. I don't think there's ever been anything that's touched that sort of money over that sort of length of time. That is absurd. So again, for anybody who's like really struggling at night, you're tossing and turning, you're thinking, gosh, are these NFL owners and is like Vince McMahon going to make it? Tax time. People are starting to think about how they're going to set up their tax strategy this year. I'm worried if Robert Kraft or Vince McMahon or Jerry Jones, if they're going to be okay this year. They're going to be okay.
How many WWE employees or fighters are going and knocking on Vince's door hey, where's that 500 mil you just got?
Yeah, what's funny is there was an article that came out that said, don't worry about Josh Allen. He has 4 houses worth $12 million. And I thought, 12 mil? I mean, it seems like so little now with some of these
making
contracts.
40 a year.
Right.
Well, these numbers, they seem crazy, and they are. These numbers are crazy deals, but it's also inflation. We're in a time now where these numbers are inflated also because everything's inflated. So it seems like, but then again, this league, the NFL especially, is printing money, but sports entertainment overall is just printing money because I think people have a real thirst for anything that feels real when nothing really feels that way anymore.
Well, there's 2 things that get people to TV now, and it's different than it has been in the past. It's literally politics and football.
Yeah.
That's what gets you to a TV. I would say sports in general, but you're not seeing any of these numbers when it comes to baseball or basketball.
That's the answer. Politicians playing football.
Can you imagine?
They would all explode. They're all so old.
Wait, hang on, though. I mean, what happens if instead of the Raiders, gosh, do we need to draft a quarterback? They're like, no, we'll take Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and we'll put him in a quarterback.
1% of the 1%.
Center.
Yeah, center. No. You got it all wrong, Donald? Or can you imagine
It's like the slowest game ever.
Donald Trump is like, I love DC, drain the swamp. Now I'm playing for the Commanders. Some people say it's one of the most historic franchises. I'm one of those people. Great
the
people.
way I throw the football is the best
that
anyone has ever seen.
Also, Hulk Hogan might come back for one more get-go here in Royal Rumble.
Dude,
he can barely walk.
Okay, Hulk Hogan has had so many back surgeries. It's been 19 that he's actually shrunk 3 inches, and that's not a lie.
That's crazy.
He used to be 6'5", 6'6". He's now 6'2", 6'3".
The only way I can see Hulk Hogan being able to get back out there is if he had arch supports.
You're darn right. And I know just where he can go. To the Good Feet store. The Good Feet store has everything you need when it comes to having a little bit less of that lower body joint pain that you've been struggling with, whether it's your feet, your ankles, your knees, your lower back. I mean, even your neck, because it can improve your posture just by simply sliding these arch supports into your shoes, whatever footwear you use every single day. So if you're working in a pair of boots every day, you're on your feet a lot, working a register, or if you're just a walker, right? And you struggle with knee pain, or like me, I started getting hip pain years after my playing career ended, and I couldn't figure it out. I was going to go in for an MRI, but we all went down to the Good Feet store. We got our free fitting and test walk. I walked out with my arch supports from the Good Feet store. The pain in my hip vanished. It was sensational. I've really been living good ever since. And so if you're like me and you have some unresolved lower body joint pain issues that you want resolution to, especially in the new year, go to the Good Feet store. Check them out at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com. Coming up next, we got our morning monologues. And also, we've got the biggest moonwalking event on planet Earth. Somebody's backtracking in a big way. We'll tell you who next.
This update is presented by Lexus El Cajon. We will begin in college hoops. Aztecs get Wyoming tonight at Viejas Arena. Tip-off at 6. Pre-game coverage get going at 5. Live from just outside Viejas. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Tickets available at goaztecs.com. We still have a pair of tickets available later on in the show today. In the NBA, Joel Embiid last night dropping 70 as the Sixers beat the Spurs 133-123. Embiid becoming the 9th player all-time to score 70 in a game. And in the NFL, head coaching vacancies, they're out there, but they're starting to heat up a little bit. The Titans are close to hiring Brian Callahan. He was with the Bengals as their OC. Reports are that Bill Belichick had a second interview with the Falcons. Jim Harbaugh had his second with the Chargers. Experience true luxury at Lexus El Cajon. Get a great deal on any Lexus and see why they're ranked number 1 for customer service. LexusElCajon.com. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon.
Yeah! Woo! Ooh. Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And we've got, boy, I can't wait to get to this story, but we've got an all-timer in terms of backpedaling. Like, we're used to seeing it on football fields, like ball snapped, cornerbacks, defensive backs, you know, they're going into their backpedal, they're waiting for the receiver to break, and then they're going to make their move. Like, this is happening so delayed, but somebody's got a lot of explaining to. We're going to get to that story in a second. But first, we got to do this.
That's true.
My morning monologue is going to reside with something we're going to get into a little bit later on, but there are a lot, and I mean over the past 24 hours, a lot of really bad Brock Purdy takes flying around the internet. Like, and our very own Ben Fletcher may be a part of the problem.
I think I'm the only one seeing this clearly, but you go ahead. I'll save my monologue for this also.
Oh, wait.
You know what? That's what we're all doing. Brock Purdy monologue.
Okay,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But so if you were paying attention to sports media at all yesterday, whether it was on the internet, whatever your favorite social media app is, or you're watching any of the television shows, one of the hot topics, we discussed it on our morning show, was Brock Purdy, his performance during the game against the Packers over the weekend. And here's the reality of the situation. Brock Purdy played a crummy game, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay for Brock Purdy, who's a very talented young quarterback, to play a bad game, because I'm going to repeat one line: young quarterback. Yes, very talented, but very young. This is like you can still count on 2 hands and 2 feet how many games in the NFL he's played. Like, it's really a very small amount of experience, and he's played way over his potential because this was the last pick of the NFL draft for the San Francisco 49ers. They never expected this to work out as well as it has, and it's worked out fantastically well for the Niners. He had really one big boy pass on that final drive to win the football game against the Packers. And thank goodness he did, because it really saved the narrative from going completely off the deep end, because I had no idea how much Brock Purdy hate was waiting on the other side of this game. But Ryan Clark from ESPN was eviscerating him. He had a ton of support online. And then you heard the other people. Nick Wright is another one, eviscerating Brock Purdy. And then you had a bunch of other talking heads going, no, this is the best quarterback since the invention of sliced bread. And I'm like, well, that's not true either. I mean, look, it's somewhere in between. He's a very talented young quarterback who played a crummy game. His team saved him. His defense saved him. He has a lot of quality offensive players around that team who saved him, and that's okay. It's going to happen to everyone. Look at Tom Brady's record. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback who's ever played the game. Early in his career especially, he had some stinkers, and they weren't always in the regular season, and his team sometimes stepped in and saved him too. So the overreaction to Brock Purdy, whether it be delusional fans defending him like he's the next Michael Jordan, or it's delusional hot takers detracting him so they could say, I told you so, I guess. It's just bonkers, and that's my monologue today.
Well, I mean, that's the point of having different weapons on the team, right? I mean, if one's not working, you lean on the next. So if your pass game isn't working well, you lean on the run game. I mean, this is the point. You're gonna have bad games. It's gonna happen. It might not even be a bad game. It might be that the other team schemed it so well that they have completely shut you down.
That's such a good point.
So
it's part of the equation that doesn't get talked about enough. Sometimes like the team's got a great scheme and they're getting paid too. They have defensive coaches. So yeah, it was an interesting 24 hours tailspin after the Packers performance. Or
But what I got out of it is Brock Purdy, just sucks.
Which brings us to flex, and it feels like it's going to be a bit of a rebuttal. Are you going to be talking Brock Purdy for your monologue?
There's so much that you said that was so spot on, Rich. There really is.
But you didn't focus on the last 2 minutes.
No, there's so much that you said was right. And you were spot on about a lot of it. Everything was overreaction. You saw it on both sides. You saw it from me. You saw it from Nick Wright was puke worthy yesterday. I don't know if anyone saw that, but what he was saying, Ryan Clark, I put him in the same boat.
Vomited.
And by the way, Richard Sherman was also puke worthy on the opposite side of it, talking about Brock Purdy. Like he was giving him glowing praise. It was not good. The truth is, Brock Purdy played like crap for a lot of that game. Also, the truth is, he had 5 throws in that game that were serious, big time NFL star-worthy throws, and they can't be ignored. You can't just leave it out of the conversation. We had the conversation yesterday about that. The drive that started with about 5:36 on the clock, it was the game-winning drive for the 49ers. Brock Purdy was 6 of 7 on that drive. The one pass that wasn't complete was a drop by George Kittle. Hit him dead in the hands. It would have been a first down. He dropped it on the very next play. That is when Brock had probably the best throw of the drive, which was the Brandon Ayuk 10-yard slant that he hit. It was super tight coverage, fitted into a hole that was so tiny. It was just a perfect throw. And then Chris Conley caught the other deep one. But the fact that people go on, and this is the part, Rich, that I so vehemently disagree with you about. The fact that people are going on and on and on, giving every single other 49ers player credit for that game and the way that the Niners won is just wrong. You cannot leave the quarterback out of that discussion, because I go back to days where Tom Brady struggles in playoff games but has the 2-minute drive at the end, and that is what made him the GOAT. Why can we give some quarterbacks credit but some not? Is it because he was drafted late? Is it because he wasn't supposed to be good? All the questions coming into the season were, well, can Brock Purdy come from behind? Can Kyle Shanahan come from behind? That's what they did. Why are we now moving the goalpost saying, well, they still suck? They came from behind to win that game against the Packers. I know it was ugly in the first 3 quarters. I watched it. It was sickening as a Niners fan. But what I saw in the fourth quarter made me feel really good about this future of the team, and it made me feel really good about our franchise quarterback.
Well, I will explain it this way. The reason why Tom Brady got all of the leniency he got playing bad playoff games and coming back and winning them, and that happened at times during his career, there's no question about it, is because he had done it for years before that. Early in his career, you don't remember this because you were too young probably, but Tom Brady was considered a Brock Purdy. A 6th-round draft pick. I mean, I'm telling you right now, the narrative around Tom Brady was he's a game manager. He's not a real QB. He's going to get found out at this league level. It took Super Bowls wins in order for people to start respecting his name. And then it took several more for people to stop with this. And then even then he went into a slump where they made it to the AFC Championship game, but they get knocked out by, the Colts. They make it to the AFC Championship game. They get knocked out by the Ravens, where people were like doubting Tom Brady during that time too. And it was after he had already won 3 Super Bowls and been to 5, I think 5, maybe it was less than that, been to 4. Look, the point is, detractors come out anytime a great quarterback or a very talented player is struggling. It's always going to happen.
Can I just throw a question out there?
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that people want to tear him down so much? Is it because of Niner fans like me who are out there and we get a big head because our team is good again? I'm really curious why people want to take every little piece of his game and not just look at the win-loss record, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, that's probably part of it, actually. The giant talk about how great he is without this resume behind him probably rubs people the wrong way, because you don't know yet. And when I look at Brock Purdy, when I watch Brock Purdy play, I don't go, that's the guy that you want in the game. He will find a way to win the game for you. At least not yet. I mean, because there's not the resume there. There's not enough games behind him. It's so odd because we've seen him come into play as Mr. Irrelevant, he started winning right away.
And you would think this would be a storyline that would be celebrated because it is the ultimate underdog story. Yet every turn of the page, it is the opposite.
I'm going to guess part of that is because when you watch him play, he's not electric. He's not explosive. It's not like you put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, who is running everywhere, and he's going to figure out a way to get that ball somewhere that you can win. He's very boring to watch.
It's very Steph Curry. Do you guys remember when Steph Curry was first starting to take over? It was like, oh, he's little. He has bad ankles. He's not going to be able to do anything here. And then it took years for him to get any sort of credit for doing what he's done. I feel like if Brock Purdy was 6'5", 250, like if he had Josh Allen's size and body and big arm, this would be a completely different story.
I also think from, you're arguing the side of like, why is everybody trying to tear him down? It's because you care about Brock Purdy as a 49ers fan, that you're only seeing it through that lens. The same thing happened to Mahomes. Mahomes rattle out of the back. Oh, absolutely it did. There were people after the loss to Tom Brady. I was one of them. After the loss to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, they're like, yeah, there you have it. The GOAT out. He could not while Brady's in the league. The second loss to Brady in the Super Bowl, there were people who were like, he'll never get past Brady. It's one of those things that people like to do, especially with younger quarterbacks. With any star, you mentioned Steph Curry. This happens with all stars. There was a point in Jordan's career where they were saying that about him. It's look, you're a fan, which is awesome because you're all in on the Niners, but it blinds you to the fact that Brock Purdy's not the only one who's gone through this. And there were a lot, and I mean a lot of Brock Purdy defenders, but there were way more detractors. And that's commonplace because we like to tear people down and build them back up.
You know how I know I'm blinded in certain aspects? For the first time in my life yesterday, I agreed with Emmanuel Acho. And I thought, oh, crap, maybe this is a bad thing. TD, sorry, we never got yours.
No, it's totally fine. And I don't know if this resonates the same with you guys because you don't have kids, but here's the deal.
Rich has 2 kids.
Well, I mean, kids of...
like adult kids.
Like adult kids.
Yeah.
Sandwich making age. Okay.
He just threw Seabash right out the door.
No. I'm sorry.
He doesn't make sandwiches. Yeah. And we don't trust Ty with knives.
Okay. Well, that's the gripe here. Okay. Knives and peanut butter. This is where my head's at. Listen, don't be the person that just stands there at the sink for a half an hour with 22,000 gallons of water rushing over the knife that has peanut butter left on it because you're waiting for the water to wash the peanut butter off the knife. Just go ahead and use your fingers and do a little, it'll come right off. Okay? So you don't need to stand there at the sink.
This feels very personal.
This is directed at Caleb.
I'm just saying.
100%.
Just saying.
Caleb, if you're listening.
Okay.
As someone very experienced in the peanut butter art,
yeah,
there is never a knife that makes it to the sink with peanut butter on it because that peanut butter gets licked off.
Okay.
Are we talking knife peanut butter is some of the best peanut butter you will ever eat in your life.
I disagree with that.
Well,
don't hate that.
I'm just saying that I've seen several hundred times now some peanut butter left on the knife, and then we just stand in the kitchen with water running over the knife forever. So we don't need to do that.
Water ain't free.
Water ain't free.
Well, it is for them.
Well, yeah. For Caleb Dale, it is. I will say this: would it bother you if somebody had like a tall cup in the sink that was filled with water, and the peanut butter knife found its way to soak inside of the tall cup in the sink?
It still doesn't take the peanut butter off. Now, would it bother me? No. However, when I go back to do the dishes, I would then have to pull the knife out, use my fingers, do a little. Get it off of there. Now the peanut butter's off the knife. I can then put that in the dishwasher.
I feel like it loosens it.
I don't think it does. Really.
Caleb does not seem to me like a person who takes fatherly advice very well. It seems like he probably is going to fight you at every step of the way.
You, Dad.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that was me. But
Shocking.
Can you just show him that once you make the peanut butter sandwich, you can kind of close the bread on the knife and just go like this?
Yeah. So
Big tip right there.
I've made a lot of peanut butter sandwiches in my life. I've perfected this.
So,
in fact, generally, I don't even wash the knife afterwards. I just put it back in the drawer because it's already clean.
Good Lord. Jesus, we dinner at Ben's house. So the closing the sandwich and then wiping the knife off doesn't work in my head because you're still touching peanut butter on the way out. You have to use
you got to leave yourself a corner.
You got to use the other side of the bread. You peanut butter one side.
This is already salt.
And then before you put the jelly on, you use the clean side of the bread.
You leave a corner empty of peanut butter, and you just put it right there.
You got one naked side. You put peanut butter on one side.
I picture at Ben's house, like you open his cutlery drawer and it's just knives, peanut butter. It's just you pick them up and you're just like, what the hell is all over your knife? Oh yeah. You just use the bread to clean them.
You leave one corner of the sandwich peanut butter free.
Just this one's got jelly.
Never jelly. Blech.
Butter?
No, just peanut butter.
Oh, good.
You like
Lord.
almond butter?
Yeah, I'll dig. Yeah, I could dig some. Oh yeah, is it my turn? Okay.
Honey, honey is acceptable to put on a peanut butter sandwich, bananas are acceptable to put on a peanut butter sandwich. That's about it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying put peanut butter and almond butter. I'm saying you use almond butter instead of peanut butter.
Yeah, I get that. I could do it. I like really salty almond butter.
I don't know if I've ever had almond butter.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Good. It's not peanut butter. I can promise you that.
Peanut butter and strawberry jam. Like that's the matchup for me.
That feels good. I do like grape. I'm partial to grape, but I'll rock with any jam, really. I'll even go marmalade.
Jelly or jam?
I don't know the difference.
Jelly is not, that doesn't have like the seeds and it's not preserved.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then yes.
Either way.
I like them both.
Jam only. Like I didn't want jelly.
Interesting. I don't mind.
Sorry.
No, it's no problem. Okay, San Diego State. Yeah. No offense taken. San Diego State, they lost to Boise State on the road this weekend. They want revenge, and they get it served cold tonight. Well, not really cold. If they were in Wyoming, it would be cold. But they're playing Wyoming, the Cowboys, at home tonight. 6 p.m. tip-off at Viejas Arena. Pregame gets underway right here on your home of the Aztecs. San Diego Sports 760. Pregame underway at 5 with John Schaefer and Ben Fletcher, by the way. Okay, couple of news or notes around the NFL. Titans close to hiring Brian Callahan, who's the OC for the Bengals. The Falcons had their second interview with Belichick. That's like the only team connected to Bill B. Also, Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers is looking to be realer and realer by the day. No announcement there, but he went in for a second interview with his wife in tow. And Colin Cowherd says he has a source who believes the Chargers are going to pay Harbaugh. So curious to see what comes from there. But this is the most fascinating news story that has come out over the weekend. It was about CJ Stroud. So after the loss to the Ravens, the Houston Texans cannot be disappointed in their season. Getting it to the divisional round after winning their division, hosting the Browns, beating them up pretty bad, and falling to the 1 seed. There's no shame in that, especially from where they started from. Rookie quarterback, a lot of injuries around that offense, found a way to make it happen. DeMeco Ryans, rookie head coach, probably a coach of the year candidate. The issue is, though, this S2 test. So this cognitive test that has, in many cases, replaced the Wonderlic as the standard bearer for NFL teams to get a read on the smarts of QBs. Stroud, afterward, he defended himself by saying, I'm not a test taker. I play football. Like that's how he defended himself after getting drafted in with the second overall pick in the NFL. And that this company that does the S2 cognitive testing, they were defending their results. They're like, yeah, no, the guy's a complete dummy.
Wasn't it a test, though, that it wasn't really answering questions, was it? I mean, cognitive.
So let me give you a quick read up on what the S2 test is, because this article
we see the game differently. Our revolutionary approach to understanding athletes' in-game instincts has redefined the it factor. We have taken decades of cognition science and applied it to the world of elite performance, making the undefinable qualities of top athletes quantifiable with the S2 system.
Yeah, there you go. So they have now come out in the wake of his play.
It says nothing about what the test is.
No, not at all.
So it's a little bit like a computer game, I think.
Yeah.
The creators told the Wall Street Journal that CJ Stroud's poor result was, quote unquote, potentially invalid and never should have been leaked So
Of course.
this is the quote from the article in the Wall Street Journal. In the wake of Stroud's play this year, the S2 test has been ridiculed for whiffing on the best quarterback prospect to enter the NFL in years. That is unsurprisingly aggravating to the performance evaluation company's two founders, a pair of cognitive neuroscientists named Brandon Alley and Scott Wiley. They say that Stroud's result should have never been leaked. As soon as his score came in, it was flagged as potentially invalid and unreliable. Interesting, we're hearing about this now.
Right.
Out of the Carolina Panthers sitting there like, damn it, why couldn't you have told me this 2 years ago?
Out of the nearly 1,000 NFL prospects that takes the S2 every year, a dozen or two get flagged by the company for producing an unreliable result. That could be because the player was clearly distracted while taking the exam or tired from various demands placed on players during the pre-draft, blah, 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 blah.
On their website, it says no guesswork, no gimmicks, no wasted time.
Right.
Data-driven approach for game-changing play.
Can we take the test?
I think it costs us a pretty penny.
Yeah, I bet it costs a fortune to take it. And that's the reason why this is so embarrassing, because this was the most high-profile test taker coming into the NFL draft. It was leaked, and it damaged his draft stock. I mean, I know he got taken second overall, but he could have been taken first.
Should have.
I mean, and potentially should have. But who's to know, right? You know, maybe the Carolina Panthers thought nothing of the S2 cognitive testing.
Well, let's play this out, because if Carolina drafted CJ Stroud instead of Bryce Young, how different is their season? How different is the Texans season? Because a lot goes into it. Like, remember, D'Amico Ryans being paired with CJ Stroud. A lot of people giving that success. Nico Collins being on the team and the fast relationship he struck up with CJ Stroud. I think that led a lot into it. Did the Panthers even have the pieces that would have made CJ Stroud anywhere near as successful as he was with the Texans? Probably not, but he's going to have a better year than I think Bryce Young had. I think we could say that for certain.
Yeah, I mean, you would assume, given how Bryce Young performed. But then again, fit is an important aspect that we're not talking about as much. Like Bryce Young playing for a head coach who then later was fired. There's a lot more stability in Houston right now. There's so many factors that go into it. So you're right. It's difficult to evaluate either way.
But fit is everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the way you're fitting into that shirt.
Oh, yeah. You're damn right. Hey, coming up in a little bit, we're going to get back to this Brock Purdy storyline, and we're going to play you some of the hilarious
Do we
takes.
have to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so sick of it.
Also, can we talk about?
Can we talk hours ago?
I feel like we need to talk about Brock's parents and their child naming skills.
That's a good point.
Chubba?
What the hell? You named your kids Brock and Chubba?
Yeah, they might have been a little bit like,
Hi.
Yeah, you get the feeling like that there was something off, you know.
Look how chubby he is. we should call him Chubba.
Chubba. Yeah, just like granddad. Anyways, yeah, I'm fitting better in this jacket than I have in years because lost a bunch of weight using sdfatloss.com. Yeah, the people over at sdfatloss.com, specifically Wayne and Chloe, they have been miracle workers with this show. As a show, we've lost like 120 pounds and counting. Ben has basically vanished. He's just an ambient voice that haunts the studio. Travis, his neck has shrunk by half. He has a hard time swallowing big bites of food now.
I had a 36-inch neck. It's crazy. Yeah, now I have to chew my food.
Right, yeah, right. He had a neck the same diameter as most people's shirt sleeves. It was wild.
I had to wear my pants, button my pants around my neck.
You know what's crazy? I don't actually doubt that you had a 36-inch neck.
What?
It was huge.
If you took a scarf and you wrapped around TD's neck, the ends only barely just touched.
I didn't have a problem tying ties.
You need a magnet.
No, but we say that to say his neck is now tiny, and me, I was looking like an overfilled trash bag stuffed with leaves.
Yep, nobody's calling you Chubba anymore.
No. I was lumpy back then, and now I'm fit as a fiddle. And I'm not even sure what that means. But if you want to play me, my strings are tight. Anyways, sdfatloss.com is where you need to go.
It's so hot in here right now.
And the belly button comment was too far.
Whoa,
hold on.
Yeah.
You started out an ad read with, guys, I like to go knuckles.
That's exactly
half knuckle. Half knuckle. It's making the point of how skinny I am.
Yeah. You're a sick man, Chubbs.
Yep. That's right.
We can't even call him that anymore.
No, we can't.
This guy, he's lost so much weight. But yeah, look, Wayne and Chloe, awesome. ST fat loss, awesome. We've lost a ton of weight. If you're looking for that way to get away from yo-yo dieting, gain a whole bunch of weight, losing it, and then gaining it all back, it sucks. Everybody's been there. You've tried the fad diets. You may be getting convinced to get onto prescription drugs to lose weight. It's not the right way to go. This is natural. It's a lifestyle change. It's changed our lives. STFatLoss.com. That's STFatLoss.com.
This update is presented by Lexus El Cajon. We will start off in college hoops. Aztecs got Wyoming tonight at Viejas Arena. Tip-off at 6. Pre-game coverage getting underway at 5. Live from Viejas Arena. Listen right here on 760. Tickets available at goaztecs.com. We still got one pair of tickets to give away on the show today. In the NBA, Joel Embiid last night, he dropped 70 points, becoming the 9th NBA player all-time to do so. And in the NFL, Brian Callahan, who was the OC for the Bengals, looks like he is going to be the Tennessee Titans' next head coach. Bill Belichick has had 2 interviews with the Falcons. Jim Harbaugh, it is being reported by a couple different people that he is very close to signing a deal with the Chargers if he hasn't done so already. Experience true luxury at Lexus El Cajon. Get a great deal on any Lexus and see why they're ranked number 1 for customer service. LexusElCajon.com. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon.
Rolling through a Tuesday here. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. We still have one pair of tickets left to go see the Aztecs take on Wyoming tonight. Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. tip-off. Tickets available at goaztecs.com. Or just keep listening for your chance to win. Also, a pair of tickets to go see Bush at the Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater on Friday, September 13th. You can get those Bush tickets at livenation.com. Or just keep listening there for your chance to win.
Now, there is a non-Adam Schefter NFL reporter talking about...
Wait. Are you just going to gloss over the fact that you had a $1 billion idea?
Well, I already worked it out in my head. It's not really... The margins are too thin. No. I'm never going to make any money off
Okay, so right before we come back on air here...
The breaking news.
What? Yeah, whatever. Rich, Fletch goes, I have a $1 billion idea. Car washes, at-home car washes for billionaires. So he wants to have a car wash set up at the billionaire's home. And I said, couldn't they just hire someone to wash their car?
No, this is no hassle though. It's like it's always running, TD. So it's outside their garage as you're going in. It's water, it's soap, it's everything you need. And then as you get through it, there's brushes to handle that. And then there's a rinse section. And then when you get into the garage, it air dries it for you.
So it's a car wash at the house.
Bingo. Don't worry, Soapy Joes. I'll never leave you. I couldn't afford this.
Luckily, I mean, every billionaire is going to want one of these.
Okay, breaking news.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is not Adam Schefter. This is not Ian Rappaport. This is a USA Today reporter by the name Cam Marino. Per source, Jim Harbaugh leaning towards becoming the next head coach of the LA Chargers. Conversations have been fluid, but very positive for both sides. He is expected to bring family with him to this second meeting in LA, which he did. And things could certainly be finalized.
Ooh, okay.
Any word if they're going to get In-N-Out or a Pink's hot dog?
Ooh.
Knowing Dino, he's probably going to buy pink hot dog for everyone and say, "There, Chargers fans, I love you."
Both of those sound really good right now.
I could do either one.
I love Pinks and I love In-N-Out. And I will eat a lot of both of them now.
I love In-N-Out. I refuse to ever have a Pink's hot dog.
Why?
Because of their relationship with the Chargers.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, yeah, that was a lame promo. There's no question about it, but still make a good dog.
Right,
right. So, look, little Brock talk right now.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we gotta.
It's just, dude, it literally twists my, inside. It feels like I just ate the spicy hot chip again and I'm about to puke again. Every time this comes up, because I disagree with everything that everyone says ever.
Wait, I mean, okay, let's start with somebody who's defending Brock Purdy, though.
I don't like them either.
Okay, how about this? Richard Sherman, okay? I believe he was on First Things First. I forget which show he appeared on, but he got going on the Brock train. And this is Richard, former cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers, defending Brock Purdy. So there you have it.
I mean,
Right?
John, hold on.
There you have it. He 0-30.
What?
And Brock was the answer to that question, long befuddled Kyle Shanahan. He was the quarterback to break that streak.
I feel like just the stat alone of they've never been able to come back from being 7 points down. 7 points?
Is that true?
Kyle Shanahan was 0-30 coming into that game, went down 7 in the fourth quarter, but that's not just Brock Purdy. That's Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Nolan, CJ Beathard. That I mean, they haven't been down 7 going into the fourth quarter that much with Brock Purdy.
But still, 0-30 is a lot.
It's terrible. And by the way, that
is.
is a direct correlation to Kyle Shanahan.
I also want to know, like, what the average coach, like, if we averaged all the coaches across the NFL, like,
nobody's record is good. Down 7 going into the fourth.
It's not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not an ideal position to be in. Okay, so you heard the good,
right?
God, this one is. Oh, I listened to this live yesterday.
By the way, I went. So we're talking about this, so I'm looking it up. Brock Purdy, and I see this headline of why the disrespect for 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is getting out of hand. And I went, I wonder what this is. Oh, it's from NinersNation.com.
Well,
they kind of suck too. I've been reading their stuff for years.
The next words you're going to hear is not from NinersNation.com.
That's Niners Nation. What I just did for you guys.
Yeah,
wow,
that was graphic.
Wow, yeah, that was.
The next words you're going to hear are from our buddy Colin Cowherd. He's appeared on this show.
Lost a lot of respect.
I've been on his show many times. I consider him a buddy. Like,
right.
But
yeah. He knows this as the morning show on San Diego 76.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
At least he got my name right. Gottlieb.
Yeah,
wow.
Doug struggles with Fletch.
Felch.
Okay, look, it's a thing though. The point is, Colin Cowherd, not a Brock Purdy fan. Here's Colin.
I'll wait for it.
But yeah. Just watching Fletch.
Then what about the final drive, Colin? I've heard Colin Cowherd do this take before. It was different. Do you know why? Because it was a different quarterback. It was, struggled this entire game.
Who was the
but
quarterback?
Then Tom freaking Brady. That's who it was. Struggled the entire game, but then in the final 2 minutes, he comes out and proves everyone wrong, and he leads the game-winning drive. That's what greatness is made of. I've heard Colin do that exact take.
But slow down.
Why is it different?
This is what I was discussing with you after your morning monologue. And I agree with everything you just said, except for the fact that he was saying that after 15 plus years of seeing Tom Brady do it.
I understand.
And Tom Brady is special. Don't get me wrong. Brock Purdy is very talented. He's still very young and very inexperienced. So we're not sure if he's special yet, but signs are pointing in that direction. I was impressed that he was able to pull it together for the final 2 minutes of a crummy football game.
Yeah.
Like, he played poorly the entire day.
Almost makes it more impressive to me.
Oh my gosh,
boy.
I didn't
he
feel
was playing that bad.
Anything Colin said there was incorrect.
He was
I
playing
think he nailed it.
that bad the entire game. And then it's like, oh crap, it's time to go win the game. And he goes out and wins the game. How is that not getting any credit? By the way, Jason McIntyre yesterday, this is another time where I looked in the mirror and I was like, are we sure we're really going all in on this? I love Jason. I don't love all his takes. he was pushing back hard on Colin yesterday.
Oh yeah. He does often. They don't see eye to eye on a lot of things on that show.
Because Colin was trying to say that Jordan Love was the better quarterback in that game. And I'm like, okay, well, when it mattered, when Jordan Love had the chance to go down and win the football game, he threw an interception.
Right. Which to me, when you're looking at that game, the reason that you're able to sit here and say, look at Brock Purdy and how awesome he was in the last 2 minutes of that game. The reason you're able to say that is because the Packers shanked a field goal and Jordan Love threw an awful pick.
So
why are you holding that against
him? Hang on. Here's the reality of that game. Jordan Love was a major reason why the Packers were even in that game altogether against the 49ers. Brock Purdy was a main character in why the San Francisco 49ers shouldn't have been in that game. If Darnell Savage squeezes his hands around an interception.
But he didn't.
Okay. If Nixon squeezes his hands around an interception that hit him in the hands, that game is over. One of them's a pick six. The other one flips the field and they at least get a field goal out of it. If Carlson doesn't shank it, if he doesn't doink the field goal, they at very least go to overtime. My point is this: Brock Purdy played a crummy game. He had a very good throw in a 2-minute drive. I'll give him that. The Ayuk throw was a great throw.
Touchdown to Kittle earlier in the game. No credit.
Look, I've gotten used to seeing Brock Purdy throw footballs like that. I never said Brock Purdy's not a talented quarterback. I've been saying it all day long. Your problem is you're blindly defending Brock like he did something amazing in that game. No, I don't think he did anything amazing.
That he sucked for the majority of the game, but I'm saying that there is no credit being given.
But the point you were just arguing is that he played a better game than Jordan Love. He didn't.
But parts of the game are weighted more heavily than others. Obviously. That is a fact.
But he played a worse game than Jordan Love. I mean, that is objectively
end of
true.
Half, end of game. Those are the two most important parts of any football game. I think we can all agree on that. To take this game out of the equation, end of half, end of game. Are those the two most important parts for quarterbacks?
Read that quote that you just put on the rundown. This is fascinating.
Yeah. So let me see who this was from.
I think we need to go to commercial.
No. It's fine. It's fine. This is from ESPN, but I'm starting to see who Nick Wagner of ESPN. This is a quote that he got. Early in the offseason, Niners coach Kyle Shanahan sat down with Purdy and assured him that if he was healthy, he would be the starter unless Tom Brady wanted to play one more season for his hometown Niners. That meant so much to me, Purdy said. I remember him saying, if we can get Tom Brady, we're going to try to get him. And I was like, yeah, he's the GOAT. I get it. But something deep down inside me was sort of like, dude, I just showed you that I can play well in this system. And we were one game away from the Super Bowl. More than anything, I was like, okay, now let's go.
Yeah.
I mean,
story.
What coach wouldn't have?
That story, coupled with the fact that he brought Sam Darnold in, and this is from Mark Schlereth, who is a trusted source in the NFL. That guy doesn't say anything unless it's true. Who said they brought in Sam Darnold, and they explained to him, they said, you're competing for the starting quarterback job.
Because Purdy's elbow wasn't right. Like, we didn't know if he would be ready to go.
Again,
well, I understand. Like, none of this is shocking, earth-shattering news. I'm just that's irrelevant to what's happening right now.
Well, I don't know how it's I don't know how it's irrelevant. I think it's very relevant that there was a certain level of trust that was established, and that also there was a lot more that needed to be proven. I didn't say that Brock proved nothing during this game. I said he played a crummy game, and objectively, that's correct. Jordan Love played a better game than Brock Purdy. That's objectively correct. Purdy made some plays when he needed to. That's also objectively correct. But defending Brock like it's the next coming of Jesus Christ walking planet Earth is ridiculous today.
Again, if the Packers won that game, would you still be sitting here saying Brock Purdy played well?
No, because if the Packers won that game, that means that last drive didn't happen.
Well, no, the last drive could have happened, but the Packers could have had a drive that wasn't a pick. Yeah. The Packers could have had a drive that wins the game. So that last drive would still be there.
Yeah.
But the Niners would have lost.
I think the best one I heard yesterday, and we really have to go to commercial break.
Okay.
It was about that exact scenario, TD, and it was playing good enough to win. And that's all that matters in the playoffs is getting the win. Brock played good enough to win in that game. I think it's being misconstrued. The second coming of Jesus Christ thing is ridiculous. I have serious questions about Brock. How could I not? He almost gave that game away. But what I'm saying is he didn't. in the biggest moment, he stepped up and marched the team down to win the game. How is that not something worthy of cheering of?
But that's I'm not saying it's not worthy of cheering of. You could do whatever you want. But the ardent defense of Brock Purdy after that, especially including the fact that the Green Bay Packers still had a chance and the defense came up for them, rushing Jordan Love out of the pocket and him throwing that pick. If the results were different, to TD's point, if the Packers go down the field and score, they win that football game. What is Brock? Is it indefensible? You just flip because the Packers have one series against the defense that went better.
No, I would still talk about that drive. Like, okay, well, in the moment he stepped up, he did enough to win. The defense didn't hold their end of the deal.
I don't know, man. It's a strange thing to stake the entire argument on, but it's whatever you want to do. And again, I think it's fun being a fan, and you are having a good time with it. There's no question.
It actually hurts really bad.
Coming up next, a Super Bowl berth last year, a disaster this offseason. We'll get into that. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, we spent so much time talking about Brock Purdy that we've run out of time this hour, but we've got enough time to give away some great tickets. We've got concert tickets to go see Bush, and caller number 5 at exactly 7:57 is going to win them. You just have to call 877-767-4760. That's 877-SORG 760, SORG 760. If you want to win these these Bush tickets, September 13th show, livenation.com for more information on those tickets. All right, so we're going to have a winner on the line here in just about a minute. Coming up next, we got to get into this Super Bowl team that has turned into a dumpster fire. That's on the other side. Is Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Hour 3, what up? This update presented by Discover. Starting off in college hoops, Aztecs out Wyoming tonight at VA House Arena. Tip-off at 6. Pregame gets underway at 5. We still have a pair of tickets to that game to give away on the show today. In the NBA, Joel Embiid dropped 70 last night. Sixers beat the Spurs 133-123, or as TD will tell you, they'll do something crazy to the Spurs. That's the 9th time in NBA history a player has scored 70 points in a game. And in the NFL, head coaching vacancies, they're starting to get hot. Titans close to hiring Brian Callahan, who was with the Bengals as their OC. Bill Belichick has interviewed twice with the Falcons. Jim Harbaugh has interviewed twice with the Chargers. Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations do apply.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. Bush tickets given away. One pair of Aztecs tickets for tonight given away.
Bush.
We've got another pair of Aztecs tickets coming up this hour. So if you're interested in seeing the men's hoop team take on the Cowboys of Wyoming at VA House Arena, this is the show to be listening to. Also, we got to get into this Super Bowl team that has all of a sudden turned into just a flaming disaster. And we got to catch up with our good friend Dieter Kurtenbach, sports columnist of the Bay Area News Group. He's going to be joining us here coming up now. Are you calling him now?
8:10.
Is it 8:10? Okay, we pushed
All right.
that back a little bit. So let's get into the Super Bowl team. So this Philadelphia Eagles story this offseason continues to devolve. Brian Johnson is the next assistant coach surrendered to the volcano. It feels like human sacrifices in Philadelphia as the Philadelphia Eagles restructured the entire coaching staff. So he was the offensive coordinator this past season. Also, the team had not officially announced this, but outlets are reporting it as of this morning. So it seems like he's out. The Eagles are also set to part ways with defensive coordinator Sean Desai and defensive play caller Matt Patricia, according to ESPN this morning, and other multiple reports out. So this is a complete overhaul under Nick Sirianni in 2 consecutive years, because he lost his offensive and defensive coordinator to head coaching jobs after the Super Bowl run last season. And now after, I wouldn't say it was a bad season, but a disappointing finish to what was a rough ride down the stretch of the season, Nick Sirianni completely restructuring again.
Yeah, I mean, look, Brian Johnson out. I don't know if that's that much of a surprise, because I think AC/DC's going back on tour. He's the lead singer.
Good point.
So
that's a really good point. I like the Kangol hat he wears.
A lap?
Yeah, you might have to. Son of a. All right, there he goes. TD is taking a lap for his punishment. You know what, though? You could completely redeem yourself when you do halftime. There he goes. There he goes.
He gave me a sneak preview of one of them. He asked me if he could say a word on air. And I gave him the okay, and I didn't even ask for context. And now I'm really nervous about his halftime.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough ride.
So with the Eagles, I did, because I saw the Matt Patricia thing yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm curious if he's done in the NFL. Like, it hasn't really worked at any step of the way, except for with the Patriots when he was doing defensive stuff. It worked terribly with the Patriots when he was doing offensive stuff. But when he was doing defensive stuff, it worked well. But how much of that credit goes to Bill Belichick, who is the defensive guru? You know?
Well, and also you're forgetting he had that stopover as a head coach with the Detroit Lions.
I was him as Halloween one year when he was the head coach of the Lions, and that didn't work well either.
It was bad. I mean, the defense was also bad, which lends more credence to the point that was it all Belichick? Yeah. Look, Matt Patricia is a buddy. He was my coach for 3 years in New England. He's a good dude. I don't know if outside of the New England organization, or I should say the Bill Belichick system, if he can hack it. Look, as an offensive coordinator, certainly he can't. I think that was proven with what happened a year ago. As a defensive coordinator, I had a lot of faith and trust that he'd be able to get it done. I thought head coaching might have been too far over his head, but the Eagles defense surrendered a tremendous amount of points during the back half of that stretch of the season.
They were a disaster in the back half of the season. Now, I'm always curious about this, just how it works in front offices or in coaching offices. When you have a coach like a Kyle Shanahan, how much is the offensive coordinator role? How important is it really? When you have a coach like Bill Belichick, how important is the defensive coordinator role? And the same can be said for Andy Reid, who's so heavily involved with the offense. How important is his offensive coordinator? Like, I never really know how those internal conversations go. Is it literally just a wall to bounce things off of, or do they have a heavy impact in terms of what's going to be called in the game?
Oh, yeah, they do. It's a collaboration. It always is. I think in the case you just brought up with Andy Reid and say Matt Nagy is offensive coordinator this year and in years past before he took the head coaching job in Chicago, and also with Bill Belichick and his defensive coordinators over the years, whether it's been Matt Patricia or Patrick Graham or others who have walked through the hallways there, it's always a collaboration, but the head coach has final say in those circumstances. And also, even if they're reside in the play caller role, Bill Belichick can supersede any decision being made at any point. Like, so if Patricia calls, hey, we want to go cover 3 here.
No.
Yeah. And Bill Belichick goes, nope. Like, you're running whatever Belichick wants. Same with Andy Reid and Matt Nagy.
It's fascinating the way different systems have these different roles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I wonder if Nick Sirianni is capable of either giving up some control to someone or what those conversations are with him and the Lauries. Because it's next year is going to be the year for Nick Sirianni and the Eagles where they decide on his long-term future. Because there were question marks about it right now, and it sounds like Laurie said, "You bring in the staff you want. This is your prove-it year."
Yeah, and I mean, if this doesn't work out, it means that Jalen Hurts will have had his 4th offensive coordinator in as many years. And what does that do to his future? Does that completely derail his development as a quarterback in the NFL? I don't know.
Redemption time.
Okay, well, we'll see. I'm telling you, it is getting tough to try to come up with something new every day. Scraping the bottom of the barrel, indeed. Zach Ertz has signed with the Detroit Lions ahead of the NFC Championship game, and ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting that the Tennessee Titans are working to finalize the deal with Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their next head coach, and calls mounting for a Bills chief NFL officiating crew to be investigated. That's because trailing by 3 with over 9 minutes left in the 4th quarter, the Buffalo defense appeared to stop Patrick Mahomes on a 3rd down. However, moments later, the game's officiating crew huddled together. They threw a flag. The flag, pass interference on the Bills.
Yeah.
So now there's conspiracy theory.
Oh,
of course, there has to be.
Yeah.
In college hoop, Aztecs take on Wyoming tonight, not in Laramie, where it's 25 degrees currently. It will be at Viejas, 6 p.m. tip-off. In the NBA, 76ers center Joel Embiid went off last night, scoring a crazy 70 points and passing Wilt Chamberlain for the new franchise record for points scored in a game. With that performance, the 76ers boned the Spurs 133-122. The Suns steered clear of the Bulls 115-113.
Yeah, it works.
The Celtics big deed the Mavs 119-110.
Is that the word he had to check on? Oh boy. I
had to check on boned.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, that worked. Yeah.
Bone spur.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you can bone spur anybody, really.
The Hornets milled the Timberwolves.
Okay.
128-125. Carl Anthony, by the way, Carl Anthony Towns scored a franchise record 62 points, 44 of those in the first half.
Jeez.
The Bucks $1 Detroit 122-113.
Get it, Buck. Yep.
The Buck.
Yeah. Boy, this is going off the rails quick.
The Kings pawned the Hawks.
Oh, mother of God.
122-107. If you hawk something.
Yeah. It works 2 ways because a king on a chessboard, a pawn. Yeah.
Oh God, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's a double pun.
That's a double pun.
That's a double pun.
That was a double rainbow. Wow, it wasn't even on purpose. Thank you for being here for that. Good Lord.
Well, look, I'm here when you need me.
Man,
Holy smokes. Do we have Dieter?
He's not answering his phone.
Son of a. I knew he would. You know what? He's probably also somewhere like me, just like, how can I destroy Brock's credibility?
No, actually, because Dieter is generally the flamethrower.
Yeah,
up there.
that's where I thought he was going to go
He
with
wrote
this.
a very positive Brock article.
I'm happy to hear that because I want to talk to Dieter if he has time this morning to chat with us exactly about what we were talking about earlier.
I believe he was positive that Brock is not the guy.
Okay, all right. Hang on. I tweeted something out.
I'm just trying to throw gas on the flame. That's all.
You are so good at it. Every time you say something, like his eyes dart to the board and his head cocks to one side. It's almost like when you say to your dog, you want to go to the vet? And he's just like, no, I don't want to go there. Last time.
I hate that it works. I think that's what makes me the most angry.
You have the shortest chain.
You do.
And it is the easiest to pull.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
I wrote this tweet, and I can't tell you how controversial this was.
I saw it. I didn't interact with it at all.
Okay, all right.
Because
So
it was stupid.
you didn't
Bad take.
No, well, see, that's what a lot of people are saying. I'm very curious how people feel about this. So this has gotten over 1 million views, and it has over 500 replies. It's a red meat topic, apparently. Patrick Mahomes, this is what I wrote, is the best QB this league has ever seen. Tom Brady's the GOAT, and all respect to the greats of the past, but Mahomes is the perfect mixture of athleticism, clutch gene, arm talent, improvisation. It's like nothing we've ever seen, ever. Chiefs fans are like, oh my God, you are 100% right. Like Brian Long is somewhere like breathing into a paper bag, like just like, I can't stand up. He's our former program director, huge Chiefs fan. But there's a lot of people who are like, absolutely not. Ever heard of a man called Elway?
Wow.
What about Tom Brady?
In my lifetime, I can't remember ever a time where I thought if you put the ball in this guy's hands, it's a win.
Well, I
liked your tweet about Patrick Mahomes. I did not like your tweet yesterday about Brock Purdy.
Oh, no, that wasn't the one. No. Actually, I'm going to read that tweet now, too.
No, Dieter's here.
No, I'm going to read it to Dieter. I'm very curious how Dieter responds to this because I feel like, again, you want to talk about a red meat topic. This, over the past 24 hours, has just been chewed on and gnawed at. I mean, we're getting close to the bone here. And Dieter Kurtenbach joining us, Bay Area News Group. So, Dieter, this is what I wrote. The reaction to Brock Purdy is what always happens when a really good, really talented young QB plays poorly in a big game. Deluded fans, they defend the very few positives ardently. The deluded hot takers, they roast him so that they can say, I told you so. This is all very dumb. He stunk. It happens. It's normal. Your reaction to that tweet?
6 for 7, 59 of the 69 yards and a win. That's my reaction. I mean, it was nasty out there, and he played like crap. There's no question about it. The ball was slipping in his hands. He couldn't get on the same page with his receivers. Everything stunk. No Deebo Samuel's a big factor in that. But when the moment got tough, when the Niners needed Brock Purdy to come through, let's be very clear about what he was on that final drive. Spectacular and perfect. His only incompletion was a ball that hit George Kittle in the chest as George Kittle stood wide open in the flat. He was perfect on the final drive. 11 yards with his feet, 49 in the air, perfect, and they won the football game. I'm not sure what people want from Brock Purdy. I don't really care what people want from Brock Purdy anymore. He won the freaking football game with a perfect game-winning drive, and somehow the narrative coming out of that is that this guy stinks. What are we doing? We have clearly lost focus on the damn game, and now are actually not even playing football. We're playing something that is ambiguous and nebulous and has nothing to do with football. We're trying to win some argument about nothing that will constantly change the second anyone actually has to change their opinion on anything. I get that we have to talk about it. I understand that there is something to be dissected here with Brock Purdy's performance in the first 3 3/4 of that game. But, what? He won the football game. Joe Montana stunk before he threw it to Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone against the Cowboys. No one talks about that because he won the football game. And everyone thinks he had this legendary content. He stunk. It was wet. It was rainy. He stunk in that game. Brock Purdy does the same thing in the divisional playoff game, and somehow now he's not a good quarterback. Dude almost won MVP. Dude has his team in the NFC Championship game for a second straight year, I would note. And somehow he's not a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. I'm not saying he's Josh Allen. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. But he's clearly pretty good, and I'll take him over the guy across the street on Sunday 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, because Jared Goff, forgive me, but a lot of Purdy in that guy if we're going to knock Purdy down. That's what I have to say about that.
I love
That 3 minutes that Dieter just spewed out is everything I've been trying to say for 2 days, and he did it perfectly. Dieter, thank you so much. You can go.
No. We have so much love for it. No, and I appreciate the passion because you, like myself, you're riding the middle here. Like, you can see it for what it is. Brock Purdy is a very talented quarterback who played terribly in that football game, but found a way in the end. That's a good thing. Ultimately, it's bad that he played bad in a big moment. You never want that. And like you said, there's enough to dissect there for 3.5 quarters. But in the end, he got the job done for his team, and well done to Brock. I don't understand how the narrative, why do you think, actually, is the question I want to arrive at here. Why do you think people are waiting to tear him down? Is it the team? Are people getting tired of the Niners being on top? Is it the player? Are people unsure of him still because he was the last overall pick? Like, what is it? What is it?
It's the last overall pick.
Okay.
It is people being incapable of or incapable of admitting that no one in the NFL knows what the hell they're doing when it comes to the quarterback position at all. They don't know. And Tom Brady, listen, it was 20-something years ago. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl his first year starting, and it didn't require this whole hemming and hawing. By the way, Brock Purdy could have won the Super Bowl last year in his first year starting. If his elbow doesn't explode on the first drive against Philadelphia, he was that good. That team was that good. And by the way, they're better this year. Not that they showed it against not that they showed us last week, but like they are. They're a better team. And so it is just last pick of the draft. And by the way, not just last pick of the draft. They have a nickname for that. So he has this quirky thing that he is just going to be known as forever until he does something beyond spectacular, which is win an MVP, win a Super Bowl, win Super Bowl MVP. Those are your 3 options. Because other than that, the thing that leads his Wikipedia page is he was Mr. Irrelevant. And if you say that Mr. Irrelevant is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, a guy who operates Kyle Shanahan's system, which everybody's trying to copy, everyone's trying to rip off, a guy who executes that system. Call him a game manager if you want. I'd like my game to be managed. I don't want to go into a game not having someone who can manage it. There's a lot of people who work in management who somehow are deriding game managers. Regardless, he's the guy who operates that system as well as any quarterback has ever operated that system. And I include Matt Ryan in that conversation, and Matt Ryan who won MVP, but of course lost the Super Bowl. It is incomprehensible to me how we can't just take it at face value, which is, this is pretty good and it's pretty fun and it's a little dangerous. And I'm not totally sure if it has longevity, but my goodness, this is better than what I saw from Jimmy Garoppolo. And everyone goes, well, Jimmy Garoppolo got him to a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get him to a Super Bowl looking like this. Jimmy Garoppolo threw it 8 times in the NFC Championship game. Kyle Shanahan didn't trust him to throw the football. And game is on the line. Brock Purdy came through throwing the football and running a little, but throwing the football. Kyle trusts this guy. He trusts him implicitly, probably too much at times. But Brian Hoyer, C.J. Beathard, if being a Kyle Shanahan quarterback was so easy, Sam Darnold would be out there doing it. Nick Mullins would have never got cut. There'd be a lot of dudes who'd be making a lot of money right now. Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't be a Las Vegas Raider and wherever the hell he's going to go next year. Brock Purdy is the best Shanahan quarterback ever. He's the best Shanahan quarterback ever. And when you are dealing with something like that, but you have to balance it against Mr. Irrelevant, one of those is going to win out. It's usually going to be the quirky one, and it's going to be the one that doesn't challenge you and sort of the entire system mentally. Because, by the way, it's not just jerks like us. It's not just fans out there who don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's not just any of that. It's people in the NFL, too. The amount of people I've talked to in the league where I've had to kind of be like, how can I respect you as somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about when it's clear that you're just going off of the Wikipedia page and you're not watching the games? If you watch the games, there's plenty to dissect. There's plenty to look at and say, I don't know about that, Brock. There's a couple of Jesus take the wheel moments when he's throwing the ball. His confidence is off the charts, and sometimes that's a problem. But you're also missing some big time throws. And what everyone's missing, unless you're in the locker room, and I'm not even privy to a tenth of it, is you're missing his total understanding and flawless execution of the game plan. And not just a guy who's going out there doing his one read that Kyle gives him and then making things happen. This is a 5-read quarterback. There's like 10 of those in the NFL max. And a 5-read quarterback in a Kyle Shanahan system, which means he's getting 3 plays in his headset, and he's having to check it at the line. He's the 49ers offensive coordinator. And again, I just go through all of these things and I go, isn't this what we've wanted from quarterbacks? Isn't this when we knock down guys like Josh Allen or Mahomes? Isn't this the thing that we always say, oh, well, if he could just be more like this, if Josh Allen could just manage the game better, if he could just go on a game-winning drive against the Chiefs on Sunday, then he'd be great. Well, Brock Purdy goes on the game-winning drive and manages the game better, but he's not great because, well, he wasn't good beforehand. And ultimately, all I'm coming down to is that people don't know what the hell they want. They just want to argue.
Yeah, that's right.
We're talking with Dieter Kurtenbach, Brock fan, Purdy apologist, some would say.
Sure.
This is my favorite interview we have ever done.
I like watching good quarterbacks. I watched Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 years. I gotta have this.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Dieter, of the remaining teams left here, what matchups do you like? What matchups don't you like against San Francisco?
I like the matchup on Sunday, and I hate the matchups 2 Sundays from that. Like, it's pretty clear. I think Detroit is not very good. I don't want to be disparaging because they have a lot of qualities that are really impressive and really fun, and their vibes are like off the charts, so you can't say anything too negative about them. But their defense sucks. Like, it is laughable. They're running basic stuff, and they're not even doing that right. And I don't think Deebo Samuel even needs to be in for Brock Purdy to carve this thing up on Sunday. And that's not me being a Brock apologist. I just saw Brock Purdy not carve somebody up. Like, I get it. I know that he can stink. I watched the Ravens game. I know he stinks. I'm not telling you that he's this perfect quarterback, but I've also seen him I've also seen him throw a perfect game, essentially. So I have to have that in my mind too. And I just look at this Detroit defense and I go, oh, there's 7 yards, there's 14 yards, there's 13 yards. I mean, it's a tough watch if you're trying to find ways that Detroit is going to stop San Francisco on Sunday. And then I look at the offense and I go, wow, incredible playmakers. Penei Sewell is wicked. He is just awesome. I know he had that big pole pancake block last week, and that was great. But, I mean, even the stuff that isn't making highlight reels is just awesome. And Nick Bosa is going to be as far away from that guy as possible on every single snap. But it comes down to quarterback. It's head coach and quarterback in this league, no matter how much skill, talent you got around it. I mean, Detroit might have as much skill as San Francisco does. And I maybe even more, certainly more if Deebo's out. And I just look at the quarterback and I just go, yeah, he's good. He's fine. He should be a starter in this league. But if that pocket collapses, I mean, just a little bit, play's over. And it doesn't matter how many skill guys you got wide open down the field, plays over. He's a 1-read quarterback, 2 reads against zone. And I lived that for 5 years. And I just know that if the 49ers defensive line, which we got to be clear, hasn't been very good, but has the talent to be good, and I've seen it be good this season. If the 49ers defensive line gets anything, the entire offensive house of cards crumbles for the Lions, and that run game is very predictable. So I think that this line at 6.5 is set damn near perfect. I'd probably say Niners win by a touchdown. You could say that they don't get the extra point because Jake Moody is that much of a question mark. And there we go. There's their 6.5. But Kansas City and Baltimore, yeah, that's a little hairier. But you get 2 weeks ahead of time, and no one's going to scheme it up better than Kyle Shanahan, except for maybe Andy Reid.
Right. Which unfortunately might be waiting for them in the Super Bowl if they advance. And I love what you said about Goff and Purdy and the comparison. Yeah, I mean, going into this offseason, even with the success that the Detroit Lions have had, I have way more questions about Goff than I do about Brock Purdy. And so I think everything you said was perfectly stated. Dieter, awesome chatting with you. We'll do it again soon, bud.
You're getting me riled up in the morning, guys. Let's do this thing. Better than coffee.
This guy's the best. Dieter Kurtenbach, follow him on Twitter. Also, Bay Area news columnist. Coming up next, we got to get some news on the injury front. And also,
Travis is so skinny.
What's happening about Travis?
I'm so skinny now. And that's thanks to SD Fat Loss, guys. I mean, let's just be clear. Okay. Look, we were big fat fatties. Okay. We were
husky.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good term. Okay.
Yeah.
We did a bit next level fat guy stuff, and
it worked.
I mean, we did it really well. Next level fit guy, not so much. So SD Fat Loss stepped in and they said, we want to help you out. They did help us out. And look, we talked to him about some of these fad diets because I was not hiding the fact I was trying to get one of these medication fad diets. And they said, look, you don't want it. You don't want it. It's an appetite suppressant. So once you stop the diet, you're going to gain whatever weight you lose right back. And then you're going to gain even more. So you want to stay away from that. We call that yo-yo dieting. And say no to yo-yo. That's what they said. That's what they said. Way to go over there at SD Fat Loss. But look, they'll show you how to lose weight fast. They'll show you how to keep the weight off once you lose that weight fast. That's the goal. You never want to gain the weight back. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this thing. So let the coaches and staff, let the experts show you how to do it at sdfatloss.com. If you go there right now, you'll sign up. It's a free consultation. You'll talk with them, and they'll talk to you about the program, about how you won't have to exercise. You won't have to count points or calories or eat some weird food that you don't want to eat. You're going to eat food you like to eat. And that's why it's so sustainable. In fact, not only are you going to eat foods you like to eat, you're going to get into a rhythm where you want to eat that way. Because after you stop and you're in this maintaining phase, you go, you know what? I like the way I feel. I sleep better. The aches and pains go away. I feel like I've done something great for my family because I'm adding years back to my life by dropping this unwanted weight here. And that's what they want to do for you as well. That's what we want to do for you. We want to see the same thing. We want you to feel better. We want you to look better. All the things, sdfatloss.com. Go there right now, sdfatloss.com. Coming up, let's get a update on the injuries around the NFL with Dr. David Chow.
Big. Huge. This update presented by Discover. Starting off in college hoops. Aztecs got Wyoming tonight. They're at Viejas Arena. Tip-off at 6. Pre-game coverage gets going at 5. Live from Viejas. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Tickets available at goaztecs.com. And right after Dr. David Chow, we're giving away another pair. In the NBA, Joel Embiid last night, he dropped 70 for the Sixers. They beat the Spurs 133-123. Embiid passing Wilt Chamberlain for the highest scoring game in Sixers history. He also becomes the 9th NBA player all time to score 70 in a single game. Over in the NFL, Brian Callahan looks like he's going to be the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Bill Belichick has 2 interviews with the Atlanta Falcons. Jim Harbaugh has had his second interview with the Chargers. Did you know that Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations do apply.
It's Big Rich, CD, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760. Coming up here in just mere moments, we have a pair of tickets to go see the Aztecs take on Wyoming tonight. Viejas Arena, 6 p.m. tip-off. Tickets available at goaztecs.com, or just keep listening here for your chance to win. We do it every single Tuesday. We check in with the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. David Chow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dr. David Chow joining us, Pro Football Doc on X. You can find him at sixscore.com. That's Sports Injury Central for all of your updates. Important ones here heading into the postseason, or I should say the penultimate round of the postseason in the NFL, as the 49ers are taking on the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game. We got the Ravens Chiefs on the other side for the AFC crown. Doc, in terms of the most impactful injury to keep an eye on, it feels like Deebo Samuel is it. Is there another one that trumps him, or is that the one to focus on?
I don't know what you're talking about, Rich. I just called in for those Aztec tickets.
And can I get a shirt?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to send you home with a keychain also.
All right, sounds good.
Doc, if you seriously want to go tonight, we'll hook you up.
Oh, yeah.
Not with those tickets, but different ones.
Yeah, you got it.
No, I thank you. Actually, I think my son has a 11-year-old basketball game in the early evening, and the wife has a charity commitment, so thank you. I'm just kidding around. We love Coach Dutcher though, but now I know where to go. Fletch, come on. All
He's
right,
the
sounds
guy.
good.
He is the connect. Yeah, no question.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So look, all the attention's on Deebo Samuel, right? And look, there's some attention, and it's stolen from Christian McCaffrey. He's got no issues with the calf. Don't worry about the Theragun on the sidelines. Rich, when you were in the NFL, you probably had the Theragun was probably around. It wasn't always around. You might have used a Theragun, but the camera wasn't on you to show the world, right? And you just used it, and you were fine, and you just kept going, just because it's CMC and it's a big deal. But Deebo Samuel, here's what we said in game. This does not look like the week 6 hairline scapular fracture based on the hit. We do a lot of video analysis, and sometimes it's just as important what we do see as what we don't see. And we don't see a scapular fracture here. So I think he has a much better chance to play this week than people think. This is what we said in game, even though he left. We'll see what happens Wednesday, as the coach says, but there's no fracture right now. I think it's a muscle injury, and I think he's got north of a 50-50 chance to play. But in terms of that game, I'm not sure that's the biggest areas of injuries to watch. I think the biggest injury to watch for that game, look, we know on the Detroit side, Sam Laporta is going to get healthier, but not 100%. We know Khalif Raymond is not going to play. We know Jameson Williams is healthier. But the big issue is no All-Pro Jonah Jackson, left guard. Frank Ragnow with scotch tape with his left ankle and left knee. So that's quite a vulnerable A-gap there, huh, Rich? I mean,
No question.
Left guard and his left leg there. And also, Brock Wright is out. Okay, the team signed Zach Ertz. Great. Even with it being brand new, Zach Ertz is great from his ACL at this point. And former Charger Steve Hyden was his tight end coach in Arizona. He's the tight end coach in Detroit. I think he'll mesh well. But Zach Ertz is not Brock Wright. Brock Wright is basically a sixth lineman who occasionally catches the ball. So here's another thing. So does this mean we see more Spencer, number 70, checking in with the, whole thing? Maybe, but
I'm eligible.
49ers defensive line has gotten a lot healthier. I remember recently on Christmas Day, I was trying to tell everyone, Brock Purdy MVP at minus 200? No, take Lamar Jackson plus 500. When Lamar Jackson beats him head-to-head because of the lack of D-line in San Francisco, those odds will all flip. But now Armstead played 60% of the plays. Hargrave and Kinlaw are back. And now it's the other side of Detroit that has issues. So I think that's the most pointed area to watch, not Deebo Samuel.
How about over on the AFC side? I think the Chiefs left guard Joe Thuney, he had some reports of an injury. Any update there?
Well, here's another guard injury, right? And he's a all-pro as well. But okay, here's another deal. He's the left guard, and it's his right pec. By video, he never tore the pec tendon, but this is a pec muscle strain. Rich, how can you play left guard with your right inside arm, the most important A-gap, injured and your pec injured, where you can't punch out and do much? Can you even get it done?
You better have that sucker, tied to your body, because if you get away from you and you tear that pec, your season's over, obviously. But outside of that, you got to generate strength with that inside arm to stop the interior rush. The fastest way to your quarterback is your inside gap. And obviously that's the one that's banged up, not only in Kansas City, but also, like you mentioned, in Detroit. So
this is probably the week of left guards as the key, right? Look, your guards are getting some national pub, but there are two all-pro guards that are out, one for Detroit, one for one for Kansas City there. But not to mention, Kansas City's issues. Rashee Rice may not be 100% from the bone bruise from the previous week, but he's playing. They're probably down to free safety number 3. The Chiefs are, with Mike Edwards with the concussion, 22% chance of clearing with Brian Cook already out. And Willie Gay, we see what happened when he left the game with the neck, with the Josh Allen spying stuff. And who's going to spy Lamar Jackson? Willie Gay says he's going to play. But when you leave a game from an undisclosed neck injury from Saturday and you didn't take a big hit Sunday, even if you start the game, can you finish the game? So we've done very well at Sports Injury Central identifying the more injured teams. And the last 2 weeks, Kansas City was the healthier team. So we were taking them against Miami with the weak Dolphins linebackers, and to some extent taking them against Buffalo because the Buffalo linebacking deficiencies. Now that kind of has flipped where KC is the more injured side as they go up against Baltimore.
Doc, when you look at the way Lamar Jackson plays in the regular season and the way he plays in the postseason, I thought he did a much better job protecting himself in the regular season this year, but he goes out against the Texans and he's running like crazy and taking all kinds of hits. Do you worry about Lamar Jackson's sustainability just in this game by itself if he is trying to put the entire team on his back, running like crazy against the Chiefs? Do you give him a higher percentage risk of injury in this game?
Well, it's a collision sport of football, and the more that you run, the more chances you take, the more hits that you take. But in order to get hit and get hurt, you got to get caught first. And not a lot of people have been able to catch Lamar Jackson. And so that's going to be a big issue here. And, look, it's just Thuney, but, Rich knows this better than anyone. The tackles for the Chiefs have not played well this year. Right tackle and left tackle, picked up a lot of penalties. Now a key guy on the interior of the line is out. That's a potential issue here. Look, I know I don't do any gambling because I'm in California like you guys, but you guys have national reach, but we do have some guarantee offers where we're 4-0 in our guarantees for these playoffs.
Awesome. Check that out at SICScore.com. That's SICScore.com for those guarantee plays. That's awesome that you have those available for your members on the website. Also, Pro Football Doc on X. And what you said about the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line is 100% true. Most of their holds have come from their tackles, and they are the most penalized team in terms of offensive holding calls in the entirety of the NFL. So perfectly stated there, Doc, as always. Hey, buddy, we'll do it again next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
There he goes, Doc David Chow. What's interesting about that stat, they have the most holding calls in the NFL offensively. They're going to be officiated by the crew who has called the least amount of holding calls the entire NFL season.
That goes back to your monologue yesterday. These crews letting people play. This Baltimore Chiefs game has real potential to get real ugly real fast.
Like physical and nasty.
Baltimore is mean, and the Chiefs aren't used to getting pushed around because they get a lot of calls.
Well, that defense, that Spagnuolo defense, they're mean up front too.
And they're going to blitz 70% of the time.
It's going to be fun. All right, we got to do a ticket giveaway here. We got Aztecs. We got Cowboys.
Oh.
Woo! Not down. Wyoming.
Gotcha.
But yeah. Okay, so it's going to be at Viejas Arena. Tip off 6 p.m.
Right.
Pregame outside.
I've already been told
arena.
I've already been told pregame is going to be off the Chisane. Right, Ben Fletcher?
That's absolutely right.
That's what I was told.
We'll actually be out there starting at 3:00 today.
Did you say off the Chisane?
Do I look like someone who says that, or does Travis Dale look like someone who says that?
What? When were you born? What year?
Is that not what the hipsters say?
No, nobody said that.
Nobody says Chisane?
Like, Rich, if you seriously had to sit down and guess, who said that word?
Wait, hold on.
I mean, it's very easy. I was kind of.
Whoa. Do the youngsters don't say Chisane?
Not
chain?
I don't think
they don't say youngsters either, for that matter. You nerd.
Hello, young fellows. I am also off the Chisane.
Dude, you're a character out of Fargo. I swear. Do you seem like you should be from Minnesota?
Oh yeah, we fed him to the mulcher. Anyways,
I'm just saying. I thought that was a cool thing to say.
You're like William H. Macy's fat brother in that movie.
If I said off the hook, is that cooler?
Oh, Jesus.
Because I think Chisane. I mean, I'm really getting in. 877-767-4760. Caller number 4. What, you guys just gonna be quiet on me? Caller number 4, 877-767-4760. You're gonna go see the Aztecs take on the Cowboys. Yahoo! Tonight, Viejas Arena, where it's gonna be off the Chisane. What else is off the Chisane is listening to Doc Chow getting me set up for my fantasy team, my fantasy picks with DraftKings. DraftKings is the leader in fantasy sports. They just dropped a brand new fantasy app. Pick 6! Woo! That That is off the chisme. And Pick Six is the newest way for you to get in on your fantasy football action with DraftKings. And getting started is easy. Just download the DraftKings Pick Six app and sign up using code SD760. Just pick between 2 and 6 NFL players and choose if they're going to have more or less of whatever particular stat. For example, will a player have more or less than 100 rushing yards, or will a player have more than 1 touchdown? And you can track your lineup and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. Gosh, I love this every single week, man. Waiting for these picks to come out so I can get them set up because, dude, it's fun to play. It's fun to have some skin in the game as you're watching this slate of NFL games, and it's going to be another fantastic weekend. So download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and sign up with code SD760. That's code SD760 only on DraftKings Pick Six. The crown is yours. Approved local P6 states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Valid only in states where DraftKings Pick Six operates. For up-to-date list of states, please visit dkng.co/pick6 states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com. Coming up, the stories we didn't quite get to. It's the bottom of the barrel next.
Bottom of the barrel coming up next.
Getting Fletch all fired up here in studio. With this guy.
I didn't even know Brock Purdy thirst traps were a thing, but I'm here for it.
With the video you just sent him.
I don't know what's going on with my TikTok, but it's all Brock Purdy.
Oh man, alive.
So can we be very honest about that Dieter Kurtenbach interview?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be Rich. You've known Dieter a long time. I've known Dieter a long time. TD, you've known him for like a few months.
Okay.
That's not Dieter Kurtenbach.
Mm-hmm.
Him being that glowing about somebody, I don't think I've ever heard him talk that way about anybody.
Not even us.
I think, well, no, definitely not us. I think what he is honest. And I think if everybody's being really honest with themselves, if what Brock Purdy is doing was the same as, or excuse me, if say Bryce Young did this season what Brock Purdy did this season, we would be talking about him and the bright future he was going to have with the Carolina Panthers and the unbelievable selection the Carolina Panthers made. Like, Brock Purdy is a really, really talented quarterback, and he's playing on a very good team, but he's being diminished. I think he put it perfectly because of where the 49ers selected him. And it's not just an effort of people who are not fans of the 49ers who want to see them lose. And it's not just an effort of these, hot takers who want to be proven right when he finally does fail, because
Nick Wright.
well, there's many of them out there. They're just not just Nick Wright, but there's also like real football guys who pass on Brock round after round after round, who he said he's spoken to and who defend themselves saying, oh, no, he doesn't have the goods. You'll find out. You'll see soon. It's like, well, he has the goods now. It's
Back-to-back
working now.
NFC championship games. First 2 years as a starter.
You know who else has the goods?
Who's that?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He went golfing out in Vegas. Shadow Creek Golf Course, took his offensive line golfing. He knocked down a hole-in-one on hole 17.
First ever in his life, and it was the first time he was golfing since the Achilles tendon surgery.
So surprised everyone's hearing about it.
What? Huh. I did see the photo of him he posted on Instagram, and I thought, he could probably use one size larger on those pants.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
Pretty
Honestly,
tight.
Yeah,
It's
you
funny
can
how
see
we
everything.
complain about that, but with guys. Never with girls.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You know what? You're right. Aaron Rodgers, wear it proud. Right.
Yeah, why not?
Tighter the better. Also, Lainey Wilson is the
tight
new
pants.
Coors Light girl.
That makes so
She
much
got a
sense. Can I be the new
sponsorship.
Coors Light boy?
That's what I was
That's all I've ever
thinking.
wanted to be.
Come on.
I love how this Yellowstone star. They don't mention their country music.
I know.
That's because she got her break on Yellowstone.
No.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, TD. Thank you, Dr. David Chow. Thank you to Dieter Kurtenbach. Dieter, I will be listening to that interview over and over again. I tell you what, we'll be here tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Herd
Wait.
is
Whoa.
What?
Who won?
Oh, Carrie Campbell.
Okay, right on.
Foul mouth
Carrie.
Carrie.
Yeah. Thanks,
Foul mouth
Foul Mouth Carrie. See you tomorrow.
Goodbye.